extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Center.
The NFL Draft begins tonight. I'm Chris Smith. Miami quarterback Cam Ward entered Thursday as a minus 20,000 favorite to be the top pick by the Tennessee Titans at ESPN Bet. Colorado's Travis Hunter is the favorite to go second, and ESPN analyst Ryan Clark says teams can't be afraid of the two-way star.
But if he's not an all-pro wide receiver, we know he can be an all-pro corner. Or if he's not an all-pro corner, then we know he can be an all-pro wide receiver. And you're saying to yourself, is he a jack of all trades and a master of none? No. For the first time ever in the history of football, we have a dude who's the master of both.
Hunter won the Heisman Trophy and a consensus National Player of the Year after starting at both receiver and quarterback. The NFL Draft kicks off 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes. Meanwhile, 5-star prospect and USC commit Elijah Arenas has been placed in an induced coma after he was involved in a serious car crash in the Los Angeles area Thursday morning, sources told ESPN Sham Charania. Sources told ESPN the initial test showed he did not suffer any broken bones.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll give you my winners and losers from round 1 of the NFL Draft. It's unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt Moscona. We are live today in Lafayette Tap Room, River Ranch, day 1 of the NFL Draft, and fired up for it. Thank you for being with us. If you know me, if you've listened for any length of time, I am your consummate draft junkie. I am the person who will watch all 3 days. I love pick 1 as much as I do pick 212, because this is how you remake an organization. This is how you remake your roster. This is how you become a contender. This is how teams who are sort of despondent and you're down and out, how you can have good fortune that will change the fortune of your organization in one single weekend. The Washington Commanders did it a year ago when they drafted Jaden Daniels. The New Orleans Saints did it in 2017 when they had the greatest draft in the history of the organization, and they went from back-to-back-to-back 7 and 9 seasons to boom. Now you've got a half dozen starters all on rookie contracts, and you have the roster built around Drew Brees to make one big final push. You can find Trey Hendrickson and Alvin Kamara in round 3, and you can bust in round 1 like with Peyton Turner. It's all those things that make the NFL Draft great. And here we go, day 1 today. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, as we push off from the dock here, and we are 3 hours, 57 minutes, and 29 seconds away from the start of the NFL draft and the Tennessee Titans being on the clock. There is a constantly evolving and changing story involving the New Orleans Saints here on draft day. A report from CBS earlier on Thursday is the one that has gotten the most attention. This was, forgive me one second, the report came from CBS NFL reporter. It was Aditi Kinkawabla, and she had this to report earlier on Thursday about the Saints and Jaxson Dart.
What I'm being told is that Jaxson Dart is not going to fall beyond that number 9 pick and the Saints. Somebody could potentially go above the Saints to try to go get him, but that's not what I'm hearing right now, that is a pick that Kellen Moore really likes.
Kellen Moore apparently has the guy he likes in Jaxson Dart, and the Saints apparently are looking at making that pick at number 9 overall. Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts on Dart at 9 in the big picture scenario here in a second, but I want to try to make this make sense because I think most people right now are going to recoil when they hear that, because we have not been talking about Jaxson Dart as a top 10 pick at all throughout this draft process. And so now here you have this scenario on draft day where a guy you were thinking maybe you'd get in round 2 or 3, all of a sudden you're going to take with a top 10 pick, potentially. I think this is kind of like as a parent, and I haven't had this life experience yet. A lot of you have. But like, let's say your daughter brings home the guy that maybe you don't love, and they're going to get married. And he asks for your blessing, and you really don't want to give it, but you kind of have to trust your child that you raised them right and they're using good judgment and going to make a good life decision, right? That's kind of how I feel today, like the helpless parent where I just got to trust that my kid is going to make a good life decision here. Here's the thing about Jaxson Dart. I don't dislike Jaxson Dart. He's a guy that had a super productive career at Ole Miss and Southern Cal, threw for nearly 12,000 yards during his career, 81 touchdowns, 27 picks. Over the course of his career, he played in 45 games with 41 starts. That was against the Pac-12 as a freshman, and in the last 3 years in the SEC at Ole Miss. He's faced the biggest competition not only in the SEC, but also internally. Remember, when he went to Ole Miss after 22, they brought in Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State, who was a 3-year starter at Oklahoma State and was brought in basically to beat out Jaxson Dart. And everybody thought Dart, before 23, was going to hit the portal. Well, he beat out Spencer Sanders, ended up going 11-2 in 23, and then comes back last year, and they end up going 10-3 at Ole Miss. So as a starter, 28-13, there's a lot to like. He's played a ton in the best conference, threw for 12,000 yards through his college career, skins on the wall, functioned within Lane's offense, a good athlete as well. He ran in his college career for over 1,500 yards, so he gives you a little bit of that mobility. There's a lot I like about Jaxson Dart. I don't necessarily love Jaxson Dart at 9, but I think I know how we've gotten to this position today as we followed it throughout the week. So on Monday, Adam Schefter reported that the New Orleans Saints were very likely going to take a defensive lineman at 9 and look to move up from 40 to take a quarterback, either at the beginning of round 2 or in the back part of round 1. The key, though, is you'd have to get ahead of the Browns and the Giants because everyone assumes the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter at 2 and the Giants are going to take Abdul Carter at 3. So if that's the case and those two teams still want quarterbacks, well, they got to get them. They pick ahead of you in round 2. So you got to get ahead of them. So that's where maybe the Schefter report came in, that the Saints were looking back of round 1 to take Jaxson Dart. Well, earlier on Thursday, there were reports that Mickey Loomis was making calls about trading back from 9. Presumably because if you don't really love Jaxson Dart at 9, could you move back a handful of spots, take him somewhere else in round 1, and maybe recoup some draft capital? And while that's a great idea conceptually, you have to have a trade partner. You have to have someone who's willing to make that deal with you that wants to go up to 9, where there's a player there of value that they want and you're willing to go to trade back to get the guy you want, who presumably here would be Jaxson Dart. And if you can't execute any of those trade scenarios, moving up from 40 or down from 9, then you're left with two possibilities. Do you take your best player available at 9 and hope your quarterback is there at 40? Or do you say, you know what? Bleep it. We believe in this guy. He's the guy our head coach wants. We hired our head coach. We got to get him his quarterback. This is the dude he wants. We're pulling the trigger at 9. And it seems like that's where the New Orleans Saints are. Just a day ago, Mykel Williams had become an overwhelming favorite to be the Saints pick at number 9. As of right now, Mykel Williams is plus 280 at DraftKings. Jaxson Dart, plus 280. It's a coin flip and then a giant drop-off till you get to Kelvin Banks at plus 700 and Tyler Warren at plus 800. That's where Mason Graham, Tyler Booker are as well. So the point being, it looks like ultimately it's a coin flip scenario where the Saints very well could write Jaxson Dart's name on the card, hand it to the commissioner to read, and the Saints for the first time since 1971 and only the second time in the history of the organization take a quarterback in round 1. And for me, I understand we all use the phrasing, the terminology, well, it's a reach. Okay. Pro Football Focus has Dart as the 6th best quarterback in this draft. ESPN has him as the 39th best player. CBS has him as the 6th best quarterback. Yahoo has him as the 59th best player. So you're talking about a guy that nobody has as a top 10 overall player in the draft. But I would also tell you that Cam Ward is not on anybody's board as the number 1 overall player in the draft. But if he's the best quarterback in the draft, you're drafting one like Tennessee is and you need a quarterback, then you take that position because that position will trump all. Y'all, if the Saints take Jaxson Dart at 9, I'm going to be okay with it. It's not the thing I would love to see them do, but it feels like they have tried other means to acquire the quarterback they want at a different spot in the draft without having to use the 9th pick. And I could argue that if you're not bullish enough to just be gung-ho on him at 9, then don't take him. But I would also argue that if you're convicted enough to write his name down at 9, then you are convicted enough on him. And if you were trying to work another scenario, that's just doing your due diligence, which every GM should be doing. How about this? I'm actually defending Mickey Loomis a little bit. All that to say, it would be so hypocritical of me to sit here today if the Saints take a quarterback and lambaste them. Because I have been yelling forever that until you are willing to take that risk, which you have done one time in the history of your organization, and it's been more than 50 years since the last time you did it. And if you're not willing to take that risk, you can never experience the benefit of hitting on your franchise quarterback. And yes, it could be Mitchell Trubisky. It could be E.J. Manuel. It could be Zach Wilson. It could be any one of those players that bust. Or it could be Patrick Mahomes. Or it could be Jaden Daniels. It could be the player that redefines your franchise. But you won't ever know until you do it. And if you keep going through this process organizationally where you're going to not use first-round picks on quarterbacks and instead commit to the likes of Derek Carr and Heath Schuler and Billy Joe Tolliver and Jeff Blake and Aaron Brooks and anybody else, Jim Everett, that you think you're going to bring in, that you're going to find this different gear. It worked one time in your franchise's history with Breeze. It worked beautifully. But if you think that's something that's going to be regular, look at the near 60-year history of this organization and realize there's a reason why you've been mostly a laughable organization for 60 years, with the exception of the bright shining star that was the Peyton Breeze era. Look at what everyone else in the NFL that has success does. The Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes. The Bills drafted Josh Allen. The Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson. You've got to be willing to take your shot on a first-round quarterback. And I know people are going to say, well, next year's a better year. I get it. You don't know where you're going to pick next year. You don't know who's going to be on the board. Live in the now. And if you bust on Jaxson Dart and you're picking top 5 next year and you want to take a quarterback, damn it, take a quarterback top 5 next year. because you're never going to be a contender until you figure out that position, and the surest way to do it is to draft the right guy. So take your shot. Maybe it'll be Jaxson Dart. We'll see. Okay, it is After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints as well. I know they got Bud Light on draft over here. Yeah, sure they do. Tap Room, River Ranch, Lafayette. They got like 7,000 beers back there. That's an unofficial count, by the way. Don't quote me, but there's a ton of them. So come on by, drink cold beer, eat some great food, hang out, TVs everywhere, watch the draft tonight. Tap Room, River Ranch. We'll be here till 6 o'clock, so come say hi. It is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us. We'll knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, we are heading down to NOLA. Our buddy Sean Fazende, Fox 8, is at the Saints facility. He'll give us a boots-on-the-ground report when we come back here. Stay with us. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. And remember, y'all, tomorrow is the last day. Friday. Tomorrow is the deadline to enter the Gordon's Grads laptop giveaway. So Gordon does this every year. Great part of the great example of community outreach that Gordon does every year for graduating high school seniors that are going to a Louisiana college or trade school. He gives away 15 MacBook laptops. So if you want to enter, or if maybe it's your son, your daughter, grandson, granddaughter, niece, nephew, neighbor, whoever it may be, if you know a graduating high school senior, here's an opportunity to win a free MacBook from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to gordonsgrads.com to get all the info of how you can enter. Again, go to gordonsgrads.com for all the info. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
We're back from the Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette. Big shout out to our friends here at the Tap Room. Come spin the prize wheel. Folks over here from ESPN 1037 Lafayette, 1041 Lake Charles. Our friends from Delta Media, our great affiliate. We love being partnered with them. Come spin the prize wheel. You can win tickets to Festival, VIP tickets to Festival this weekend, shirts, pins, all kind of great stuff. Come see us here at the Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette. Our Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Sean Fazende is in New Orleans at the Saints facility. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here on a busy day. Hey, man, thanks for squeezing this in. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Let me just first start with your understanding, impression, takeaway of all of what I think to be right now, Sean, about 2 hours away from New Orleans, the biggest story, which is the Jaxson Dart ascension, and it certainly seems like that's a very real thing today.
Yeah, that is certainly something that really has kind of taken over just in the last few hours or so. I know the gambling odds have really connected Jaxson Dart to the Saints at 9. That's interesting because up until today, I was pretty convinced they're not taking a quarterback at 9. So you never know how this stuff changes, how this stuff works with the last-minute information, whatever the case may be. I do know they've spent an absolute ton of time with Jaxson Dart throughout the pre-draft process. So there certainly is a connection there. I did not rule out the Jaxson Dart possibility when we've been talking about the draft down here with our shows, but in every realistic scenario, it was always to get back in later in the first round, not necessarily at 9. So if that plays out, that will certainly be interesting.
Do you think if they don't go Jaxson Dart at 9, is it as simple as saying they'll take Mykel Williams, who's another guy whose name we've heard a bunch here of late?
Yeah, well, look, I think the history is there with not Mykel Williams in particular, but the idea of going offensive or defensive line. Ever since Jeff Ireland's been there, they've done that when it comes to their first round, either a first round pick or their first pick in that draft. Think about 2019 with Eric McCoy because he was a second round pick. So yes, I could certainly see why his name would start surging now because of the history of drafting, basically belief in the trenches, the big men. And look, the history's there with Jeff Ireland, and you heard Mickey Loomis talk about that yesterday. The belief in building inside out. So, yeah, I think that would be a very real possibility, especially when you talk about the scheme change on defense. If they feel this is a good fit for that scheme change, and yes, I could see that certainly playing itself out.
Sean, there's a couple other scenarios I want to run by you, but just give us a perspective there at the Saints facility right now, what it's like today and maybe how it might compare or contrast to other draft days, being that this is the first one under Kellen Moore.
Well, I'm in a little bit of a different spot because this is the first draft I'm not at the Saints facility. We're actually doing a show at Fox 8 here at the 504 Topgolf place.
Let's
go. That's actually where I'm spending. That's where I'm spending at least the first round of the draft. Now I have to head back to the facility after our show here and do some hits from there as well. So I'm actually not there right now, but I have been around obviously over the last couple of days and weeks. And look, there's an urgency. There has to be in terms of getting what they want, but also look. This is a new staff with a new way of thinking, new prototypes, new philosophies, and having to blend in with an organization that doesn't have a whole lot of changing when it comes to sort of the way they've done things, especially when it comes to the draft over the last, call it, 10 years. So I am really curious to see how that plays out, not just tonight, but the entirety of the draft.
Hey, Sean, I know at Fox 8 you did your final mock draft, and you had the Saints taking Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, who's a guy I know a lot. I'm high on. I think everybody loves Tyler Warren as a prospect, right? Do you think that's is that just sort of your preference, or do you think that's something that may actually happen at 9 tonight?
I think it's a reasonable possibility, and I know like I said earlier, I would be going against recent history when it comes to. Their history of drafting at the line. I do know they have really liked him throughout the pre-draft process. You have a young offensive-minded head coach. You have a guy in Ty Warren who, I mean, I've never seen a tight end utilized that way, the way he was utilized Penn State a season ago. And this offense, and Kellen Moore understands this, they need playmakers, regardless of position. They need playmakers on the football field. and they just don't have nearly enough of them. And I felt that way last year, even after the 2-0 start. I felt like they were a playmaker short, and then obviously all the injuries happened, and everything's happened since then. So I think it's a realistic possibility. I think what's difficult about the Ty Warren scenario is, will he be there at 9? Now, if he is there at 9, I think he's in the discussion. I know there's a lot of talk about maybe the Jets at 7 when it comes to Ty Warren, but if he's still around, I could see it getting interesting with Ty Warren and the Saints.
A couple more for you. Sean Fazane's with us, Fox 8 New Orleans. He's on Twitter at Sean Fazende, Fox 8. Give him a follow. You were there for the Loomis presser yesterday. What did you make of his unwillingness to answer questions about Derek Carr?
Look, nothing about that scenario makes sense. When it happened, when news broke, nothing has made sense about it since it's happened. And I feel just as confused about the situation after the Mickey Loomis press conference, where he just wanted to sort of acknowledge it and then didn't want to talk about it again. And look, reporters are going to do their job. They're going to keep asking. I mean, you're trying to get as much information as possible about the starting quarterback, not the backup slot receiver, the starting quarterback. And yet there still seems to be no real clarity on anything, no real clarity on the timeline, what happened, where it happened, how it happened. And for whatever reason, there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of urgency in providing that information. So I guess they chose to handle it that way. We tried our best to get some information, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
Do you think, or how do you think the Carr, not injury, let's call it an issue, because that was the word Mickey used, the Carr shoulder issue affects this draft?
Well, I think they were always in the market for a quarterback in this class because of the, Derek Carr is 34 or 35 years old right now, and he only had one more year left on his deal to begin with. Well, this year and obviously next year when he's on the initial contract. So at some point they were going to look towards the future at the quarterback position because they want somebody that, they can hand the ball to. That it really ups the urgency. I am of the belief that the Saints are not going to enter round 3 without a quarterback. I think before round 3, you will see the Saints with a quarterback in this class. I don't know if it's going to be at 9, and obviously they pick again at 40, but I think somewhere between 9 and 40, they will eventually land a quarterback. And I just when you look at first off, Kellen Moore is a former quarterback, a lot of former quarterbacks on his staff, and right now you have Haener, DiNucci, and obviously Spencer Rattler, and a huge unknown about Derek Carr. I think it's a very realistic chance he doesn't play for the Saints again. And then you got to add a quarterback to your roster because that's just not a quarterback room you can go in and have any sort of realistic chance to win with. So I think it ups the urgency at the quarterback position. But I'm also of the opinion, and I think we kind of picked up on that with Mickey yesterday, that you just don't overdraft at that position. And I'm kind of with him on that because I don't want a 40th graded prospect pick 9th. That to me, if you get a top 10 pick, you got to get a top 10 player. So I do think, though, at some point they'll address quarterbacks fairly high in this draft.
Sean Fazende, Fox 8 New Orleans, before you go, position, player, value somewhere out. Sean, we spend so much time talking about the first round, and I understand why. Not like all of us do, but a draft is made in what you do after round 1, truly. I mean, unless if you get a transcendent quarterback. Where do you see the value, the need, days 2 and 3 for New Orleans?
Well, I would look at the running back position. I've been told that they do feel like this is a loaded running back class, and you can find an impact guy, not just a depth guy, an impact guy, late day 2, early day 3 in this class. So that's just one position to look at when it comes to kind of the strength of this class, but also how it goes with the Saints' needs. But look, Matt, this is I can't think of a draft where the Saints have more needs than this one. Yeah. So you can kind of look across the board and say, yep, they have a need there, so that pick makes sense. But the running back position on late day 2, day 3, to me, that could be a good spot to land an impact player.
Sean Fazende, make sure you follow him at Sean Fazende, Fox 8. We appreciate it, man. Hey, hit him straight at Topgolf.
I'll try. Pray for me.
We'll see you, man. All right, that's Sean Fazende. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to get them. Mother's Day's right around the corner, and graduation's right around the corner. So if you're thinking about getting that gift for mom or for the graduate on your list, they've got tons of options at Lee Michaels, and there's 9 locations, 2 in Baton Rouge, 1 where we are today in Lafayette, New Orleans and Shreveport, and always online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, we appreciate Sean Fazende for jumping aboard with us. We will go back to the Saints facility in hour number 3. Dawson Eiserloh from ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles. He's at the Saints facility, or will be. He's just finished his show here in Lafayette. He's jetting down to New Orleans, so he'll be with us at 5:15. We'll get a boots-on-the-ground perspective there before we go off air. We will have Kendall Rogers in hour 3. Wes Rucker does a great job covering Tennessee. We'll be here an hour from right now, about 45 minutes actually, to preview the LSU-Tennessee baseball series. So we had a ton to get through today, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We are live from the Tap Room in River Ranch. So if you're in Lafayette, come by and see us here. We're here until 6 o'clock for the show today as we count you down to the NFL Draft. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Man, we got some rain today, but as soon as it's going to pass, a beautiful weekend is looking at us ahead. An awesome time to get by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Siegen Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. And I always encourage you to make sure you check out their Facebook page, because every day when they get new shipments of whatever plants or shrubs or trees and flowers, whenever they get them in, they post them on their Facebook page. You can always keep up to date with what the latest inventory is. Listen, if you need mulch, bag, or bulk, if you need soil, bag, or bulk, if you need the products to help keep the critters away like mosquitoes and ants and snakes and all the other stuff, they've got it all at Clegg's Nursery. So get on by. They've been doing it for more than 60 years. Buy local, shop local, and be sure to tell them Matt sent you in when you go see our friends today at Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on.
Presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Kind of keeping an eye on all of the final mock drafts as we're 3 hours, 27 minutes, and 32 seconds away from the start of round one. Again, everybody has a mock draft for what it's worth. Peter Schrager over at ESPN has the Saints taking Mykel Williams, number 9 overall. And if you're interested, our guy Ross Jackson over at LouisianaSports.net just published and filed his final mock draft. And he has the Saints actually taking Texas offensive tackle Kelvin Banks at 9 overall. For what it's worth, as we look at the updated odds from DraftKings, and again, just to reiterate why we talk about odds, there's just intel, right? I mean, this isn't point spread value to determine who's going to win a game. These are decisions that people are going to make, and people control the outcome, the people who are actually going to make the pick. And so as intel gets out, decisions can be made, so you see massive line movement. That's why we've seen this dramatic shift with Jaxson Dart as it becomes more apparent what the Saints are looking to do, which was either move up from 40 or back from 9 to find a sweet spot where they could take a quarterback and maybe still use the 9th pick. But either way, that's why you're seeing that there. But the third best odds is Kelvin Banks. And you know, if it's a scenario where the Saints get in the draft room and ultimately decide they're not going to take Jaxson Dart at 9, I don't know what they're going to do, but if they get to that situation, maybe they think Mykel Williams might be a bit of a reach. They have Kelvin Banks higher on their draft board. Then maybe they do pull the trigger on the big offensive lineman from Texas. And if that would mean back-to-back years, you used a first-round pick on an offensive tackle with Taliesin Fuanga a year ago. But what that would allow you to do is then take Trevor Penning and move him to left guard, and then Kelvin Banks could be your starting right tackle, presumably. So there's a lot of possibilities for New Orleans, but we're starting to see this. Narrow a bit, and who the real targets are going to be. The only thing that the Saints don't control, obviously, is going to be what happens ahead of them. So if there is a big shock, like a year ago when the Falcons took Michael Penix at number 8, that can upset the draft order, and maybe someone's there that you're not anticipating. So it is an oddity that this is the first time in the modern draft era, this is the first time since 1967. This is an astonishing stat. This is the first time since 1967 that there has not been a first-round trade ahead of the draft. All 32 teams still have their pick, their slotted pick here in round 1. So does something happen between now and the start of the draft, or do we see something happen during the first round? All things that we're going to have to keep an eye on as we inch closer here to the start of the draft. Again, 3 hours, 24 minutes, 33 seconds away. Our Thursday show is here brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We're live from the Tap Room in River Ranch. If you're here in Lafayette, come hang out with us here at Tap Room. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We'll go around the SEC in just a second. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. And when I talk to Brandon, yes, he always talks about the windows, the doors, the siding, the shutters. But more than anything, what he stresses is the experience, the quality, and the service. Brandon's often told me, as a business owner, you've got to be willing to spend your last dollar to make your customer happy. And when that's the mindset and the mentality of the business owner, and that is passed down and funnels to every single member in the business, you know that from the first person that picks up the phone to the person that greets you when you walk in the door at their showroom, to the measure tech that comes to your home, to the installer and install crew, to the final walkthrough that you have, you're going to be thrilled with exceptional customer service. That's Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time, but Musa will do the honors. Tigers. Nope, not Tigers. Nope, that's not what we're doing. We're doing Around the SEC. That's
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Texas Longhorns
Yeah, Tigers in the pros coming later. Texas, Steve Sarkisian, they've landed former freshman All-American defensive lineman Murad Watson out of the transfer portal. He's a former Syracuse Orangeman, chose the Longhorns over Miami and Ohio State. 5th transfer portal defensive lineman to pick Texas this cycle. Started 11 games a season ago for the Orange. A sack, a tackle for loss, 31 tackles. 6'3", 315 pounds. 247 Sports has him the number 51 overall player in the transfer portal now, a Texas Longhorn.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee safety Jacoby Thomas is reportedly entering the transfer portal. That, according to his agent, according to telling ESPN on Thursday. He's a projected starter for Tennessee in 2025. Spent his first 3 years at Middle Tennessee and last season with the Vols. 6'2", 202 pounds, 22 tackles, 3 TFLs, and a sack for the Vols. Played in all 13 games, but seeking asylum.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas has landed Florida State transfer quarterback Trevor Jackson. That, according to Hog Sports, and of course an earlier report from Matt Zenitz. 6'3", 191-pounder. He's a former 4-star in the class of 2024, although he walked on to Florida State. Will be on scholarship with the Razorbacks. Redshirted his first season in Tallahassee, appeared in just one game this past fall, recorded a 2-yard rush. He looks to replace Madden Iamaliava for the Hogs at backup quarterback.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn has landed Tulane cornerback Rashawn Pleasant out of the transfer portal. He picked Tigers over the USC Trojans. 2 years of eligibility remaining. Finished the 2024 season with 35 tackles and 4 pass breakups. Also a 100-yard pick six. Very athletic player, doubled as Tulane's kick returner. Took 2 of them back to the house out of 13 attempts.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Jeff Lebby has added Indiana transfer tight end Sam West to the Bulldogs roster out of the portal. Spent 2 years over there up in Bloomington. 6'5", 230 pounds. 13 games for the Hoosiers, but most of that came on special teams in 2024. He caught 1 pass all of last season, but it did go for 37 yards.
The Florida
and
Gators.
Finally, the Florida Gators. They've landed point guard A.J. Brown from Ohio out of the portal on Thursday. Joins his brother Isaiah in Gainesville. Played in 25 games, played in 29 games, started all 29 for the Bobcats. Averaged 13, 2, and 1 last season. That is around the SEC.
All right, thank you, Muse. Appreciate it. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. We're here live at the Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette. Come on by, spin the prize wheel they got over here. They're giving away festival T-shirts, pins, posters, also VIP passes as well, and a Tap Room gift card. So if you're in Lafayette, come hang out with us here for AFR from 3 to 6. You can always text the show, as I mentioned, 225-396-4400. Scott Phillips said, can't wait to move on from Temu Drew Brees at quarterback. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Justin Grimion, when we were talking about Jaxson Dart to open the show, he said, you said otherwise a few months ago. It never fails, no matter what lengths I go to try to clarify a position. There's always going to be somebody who misunderstands or who hears what they want to hear. A few months ago, Mel Kiper, it wasn't a few months ago, it was probably right at about a month ago maybe. Mel Kiper, in a mock draft, had Jaxson Dart to the New Orleans Saints, and I was not good with that. And the reason I was not good with that, as I said, that Jaxson Dart, large sample size at quarterback in college, seen him play a ton, and nobody had him as a first-round draft pick, let alone the top 10, when his college career ended. And now because he goes to the Pajama Olympics at the Combine and performs well, now he's a top 10 pick, I don't buy it. I still feel that way. I don't like Jaxson Dart as the 9th pick of the draft, to be clear. If that's what the Saints do, I don't think, I would prefer they take the best player available and figure out quarterback later. However, if they're sitting there thinking, and they have done their due diligence and tried to move up from 40 and tried to move back from 9 because they feel like that's the sweet spot where they're going to get their quarterback, and they've been unable to do a deal, well, you got two decisions to make. Do you sit there at 40 and pick a quarterback if one is there for you, or do you get the guy you want at 9? That's where I give you the analogy that I have to look at this like the parent whose child is getting engaged to someone maybe they don't approve or dating someone they don't approve, where you have to trust your child's judgment, that you did a good job raising them. So it's like, do you trust, I'm not saying Mickey Loomis, because I don't think this is Mickey Loomis. Do you trust Kellen Moore? Do you trust Kellen Moore, who is 36 years old, who played quarterback in college, in the NFL, who has coached quarterbacks, who's been an offensive coordinator, and is now a first-time head coach, who's coached Dak, and who's coached Justin Herbert, and who's coached Jalen Hurts? And do you trust him to identify a guy he feels can be your franchise quarterback in the NFL? And if the answer is yes, then you have to trust the decision that they're going to make. And if it's Jaxson Dart, then so be it. Again, that may not be the thing that I would do or would be pumped about them doing. But I also believe, unless and until you're willing to take your swing at quarterback in the first round, you're never going to hit on an elite quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. Now, it's different when you're talking about the number 1 overall pick, I understand, or Jay Daniels. You've got to be willing to take that swing. And maybe, for the first time since 1971, the Saints are ready to make that swing again. Jaxson Dart right now, same odds as Mykel Williams at plus 280 to be the 9th pick of the draft. The Saints are going to have to make a decision. Do they write a quarterback's name on the card at 9th, taking a quarterback in the top 10 for the first time since Archie Manning in 1971? Okay, it is after further review. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. It's not just health care. It's health care for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com. Let me knock out a quick break. We will come back and wrap up hour number 1 here on AFR. AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, as we're counting down to the draft. Maybe tonight you're having a draft party at the house. How about you swing on into Rouse's and pick up all the goodies you need, your chips, your dips, your snacks, your drinks. They got it all over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, with 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between. And right now, how about this? Now, for the next 5 days till April 30th, you can save 20% on Rouse's entire Bell & Evans chicken lineup. They're 100% air-grilled chicken. They're raised without antibiotics. It's superior animal welfare. It's consistently fresh. It's quality chicken. This will not last. Again, 20% off for the next 5 days through April the 30th. Save 20% off their Bell & Evans chicken lineup. So get on by any of the Rouse's locations. Of course, you can download the Rouse's app as well, or you can go to Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. That's Rouse's. This feels like home.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, Know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
The Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette. Y'all come hang out with us. By the way, as soon as the show ends, I am jetting back to Baton Rouge. We'll have the tonight's draft watch party over at Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm excited about it. That started that as a companion show during COVID, and everybody was remote. That's where we have the now infamous Island Hanny. And then when everyone went back to their lives post-COVID, we started doing that at Don Juan, and it's been a great tradition, a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something to do tonight, coming out to Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. If you can't be there with us, be with us on the live stream on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel or Facebook. We'll look forward to that tonight. I got a text on the text line from Chase L., who said, hey, Matt, does it make sense to build the O-line this year, have a tank year, and shoot for a high first-round pick for Arch in 2026? So, yes. No team will ever acknowledge tanking, nor should they. But I do believe maybe a more palatable way to put it is a reset, where you realize you're going to get younger at quarterback, you're going to get younger and less expensive all over the field, you're going to purge some of your veteran contracts. That's what I've been actually encouraging them to do now for the last 2 years, and actually longer than that. But they're not going to do that. They're trying to win now. Without Derek Carr, that seriously compromises that. The problem I have with the way he phrased it about tanking for Arch is a couple things. Number one, there's been some scuttle that Arch isn't going into the draft next year, that he is going to spend 2 years as the starter at Texas. And if you're making $3-4 million as the starter at Texas, there's no urgency to jump into the NFL draft if you want to be a multi-year starter in college. That's one. Two, you don't know where you're going to be picking. So if Arch is the number one pick in the draft next year, let's say he is in the draft, and you're where, say, the Giants are this year and you need a quarterback but you're number 3, well, who are you taking? You say Nuss. What if Nuss goes 2? The point is there's a lot you don't control. So you don't live in the future. You live in the present of this draft and how you can use this draft to positively affect your roster and your franchise moving forward. As for the question just specifically about drafting offensive line, sure. If there's a great offense, if you love Kelvin Banks and he's the highest rated guy on your board at 9 when you pick and you take him, great. I'm totally fine with that. You need everything. So just get a starter at number 9. Get an immediate starter at 9 because you need everything. Speaking of offensive line, Will Campbell is a guy who is going to be the first offensive lineman taken. Here was Will Campbell up in Green Bay earlier today meeting with reporters.
About the pre-draft, the lead up, and dissecting stuff like that, when you feel like I've proven and I've shown on tape what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exhausting. I've heard it since I was 14 years old. You know, the school that I just went to, they said the same thing to me. You know, my coaches, you know, that everybody's had a concern with my arm length since I was 14 years old and I got my first offer. I didn't let it become a problem now, or then. I'm not going to now. You know, there's some teams that want to play me at guard, and I'm fully willing to do that because I'm a team guy first. I want to win, and I want to win now. I don't want to wait, and if that means me playing early, me winning, is me at guard, me at X receiver, me at tight end, that's what I'm going to do. So, like I said, wherever, you know, the opportunity presents itself for me to get on the field as fast as possible.
Will Campbell, by the way, is now minus 500 to be the number 4 pick of the draft to the New England Patriots. The next closest is Ashton Genty at plus 400. So Will Campbell's going 4th to the New England Patriots, barring something dramatically unforeseen. And I shared this with you a week ago. I was at lunch at Phil's, and Will Campbell came out the back door, the back room door open, and Will Campbell, Miles Frazier walk out with members of the Patriots brass, including Mike Vrabel. And I told you last week, the head coach of the Patriots doesn't fly to Baton Rouge to have lunch with Will Campbell the Thursday before the draft, that they're not serious about taking him. And you're obviously seeing that reflected here in the odds. So Will Campbell, I wrote about this at LouisianaSports.net. Will Campbell, when he's picked, is going to become the highest drafted offensive lineman in LSU history. Of course, Alan Faneca went 26th overall in 1998. He is the only other first-round pick offensive lineman in the history of LSU football. That's stunning to think of it like that, but it's true. He's the only other Will Campbell and Alan Faneca will be the only 2 first-round picks on the offensive line in the history of the program in the NFL draft. There was one player taken 7th overall in the AFL draft, but in that same year went in the 5th round of the NFL draft. So in the NFL draft, there has been one LSU Tiger on the offensive line to go in round 1. That was Alan Faneca tonight. They'll make it 2, and Will Campbell is going to go 4th overall. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Parrish Restoration. Go to parrishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. It's that patented non-toxic dry fog treatment I tell you about all the time, parrishrestoration.com. It doesn't matter if it's your home, if it's an office building, if it's a doctor's office, if it's a gym, a workout facility, if all that odor from sweat. Maybe it's your home and you bought a home where the previous owner had pets and you're trying to get that pet odor out of it. Parrish Restoration can help. Call Parrish Restoration. Let them come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Let it dwell. As soon as it dissipates, you're back in. Free, clear, clean, free and clear, clean, smelling, fresh. It's Parrish and pathogen-free. ParrishRestoration.com. That's ParrishRestoration.com. All right, y'all. Thrilled to have you aboard with us here on draft day from the tap room in River Ranch. The TV went off. We had the TVs on. TV went. Anyway, we'll get the TV back going because I was going to give you the countdown. Anyway, we are counting down to the NFL draft. We're here until 6 o'clock. If you're in Lafayette, we're here at River Ranch. Come hang out with us here at the tap room. Hour number 2 is staring you straight in the face. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, remember Supper Club. 2 things I got to remind you about. And I'm going to hammer this one for a couple more days. Number 1, stone crabs. Chef Layton actually put a video of the stone crabs that they got in today on the Supper Club Instagram. So if you want to see it, check it out. They are massive. They were literally in the water in Florida yesterday. They're at Supper Club on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge today. If you want stone crab season ends on May 1st. So after May 1st, you can't get them again until October 15th. So if you love stone crabs, get by Supper Club today to get them. They also got a Sagrera cow in yesterday. Remember, they butchered the entire cow in-house there at Supper Club on Perkins Road, so go check it out. They're taking reservations for Mother's Day, y'all. SupperClubBTR.com. Usually closed on Sunday. They're going to open on Mother's Day. 11 to 3 will be the seatings, so get your reservations and treat Mom to Supper Club. It's SupperClubBTR.com.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life, so why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
This is SportsCenter.
The NFL Draft begins tonight. I'm Chris Smith. Miami quarterback Cam Ward entered Thursday a minus 20,000 favorite to be the top pick by the Tennessee Titans at ESPN Bet. And ESPN's Dominique Foxworth isn't sure that Ward could have an impact in year one.
Probability is no, but it's possible. Like, they have some talent there, particularly on defense. They're in a division that has Houston and not much else. And I would say that it's not as rare as you would think, because like we had C.J. Stroud do it not too long ago, Jaden Daniels last year.
Ward looks to join Joe Burrow as the only number one overall picks in the last 20 years to lead the FBS in touchdown passes in their final college season. Draft kicks off 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes. On to the NBA, where French guard Nolan Traore, a projected top 20 pick, will enter the 2025 NBA Draft. ESPN's 18th ranked draft prospect averaged 11.5 points and almost 5 assists in 23 minutes per game in France. Baseball, all-star shortstop C.J. Abrams rejoined the Nationals from the 10-day IL before their game against the Orioles.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll give you my winners and losers from round one of the NFL Draft. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We are live at the Tap Room in River Ranch with our friends from Delta Media, our great affiliate, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles. Joined here on site by RP3, of course, of RP3 and Mesh. What up, dude?
What's up, man?
I love the draft. You love the draft?
I love the draft. I remember back in the day with my friends, even before I really got into the sports business, I'm dating myself, when it was just on Saturday and Sunday.
Bro.
And then we would just grill out the brats, have some beers, spend all day giving each other crap about the bad players that our teams drafted. I miss those days. I know, I get it. It's prime time. It's an event now. It's a traveling circus. It's their second biggest event behind the Super Bowl. But I'm old school draft guy.
Dude, for as much as Roger Goodell gets deserved crap, and he is basically the owner's whipping boy, right?
Yes.
That's what he gets paid to do.
Correct.
Like, he is paid to be the figure. He is working at the will of the owners. Like, his job is to make the owners money. And so a lot of the decisions we all crap on him for, it's actually the owners, but he's just the figurehead that we get the crap on. But his job is also to make money for the owners. He's done an amazing job. And one of the smartest things he ever did was turn the draft into a primetime event. Because, like, we have turned this into a months-long preamble to where we're going to watch a bunch of dudes sit in a room and then someone read a name off a card.
I'm old enough to remember the first draft that really kind of was on television, of course, was the 1983 draft. That's the Elway to Marino draft, right? Right. So I remember that.
So old.
But I am. I'm closer to 50 than I am 40. We'll leave it at that. So yeah, but he wisely figured this out. We talked about the NFL overtaking the sports culture in the United States, and they figured out how to make themselves 365. And when they figured out the thing with the draft, we're going to expand it, we're going to make it a 3-day event, then it's going to travel. Now we're breaking it down constantly, and we have become obsessed with guys hearing their name called and going up and holding up a jersey with the commissioner. Like, we're obsessed about it. We get stressed about it. We're filled with anxiety about it. It is phenomenal. And look, give him credit. I blast him all the time.
He deserves it.
Not as much as Manfred in Major League Baseball. That's a discussion for another day.
He deserves it too.
He deserves it too. But it's a shrewd move. And you know what? You don't make a move like that if the people don't want it. And guess what? The people can't get enough of the NFL, and they can't get enough of the NFL draft.
Do you we were talking before the show a little bit, where if it is Dart at 9 for New Orleans, where do you fall on that?
I have questions. Look, I have nothing personal against Jaxson Dart. Okay, so if you're just talking from a prospect standpoint, there's a lot of things that he does well. He has great. He can escape very well. He's a good athlete. The ball placement on the medium to long throws worries me. And when you pressure him, like a lot of young quarterbacks, he makes bad decisions, right? He makes poor decisions. Now, that said, I'm fascinated by this draft because this is going to tell us everything we need to know about Mickey Loomis and has he changed his spots, so to speak, right? They have, for years, this is what we want to do. They have drafted an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman every year from 2014 on. Yeah. Every single year, that's what they do in the first round.
And 9 of the last 11 first-round picks have been linemen. The other 2 were in years where they had 2 first-round picks.
Correct.
So you took Lattimore and Olave in the same years where you took Ramczyk and Penning.
Correct. So we know what they like to do, right? So we joke about it all the time. Mickey doesn't like to do rebuilds. Mickey doesn't like to trade back in the first round, and the Saints never want to draft a quarterback in the first round. Do I believe Jaxson Dart is a franchise quarterback on the same level of a Joe Burrow or an Andrew Luck, a John Elway, a can't-miss prospect? No, I don't. But if they go Jaxson Dart at 9, this tells me that they are fundamentally changing their approach to things and that Kellen Moore has a voice in that room, despite being far younger than you and I and being a first-time head coach. Because if they go away from the classic RAS score and grab some defensive linemen that played in the state of Texas that's going to be injured all the time, which, they like to do that.
It happens.
It happens. If they go away from what they've done for the better part of more than a decade and they decide, we're going to change it up. We're going to draft a quarterback for the first time in the first round since 1971. We are going to go after this guy that's shooting up the draft boards. And look, you know this. You're locked into college football. I've been talking about this for over a month. Watch out for Jaxson Dart. He's going to shoot up the draft boards. He's going to be that guy. He's going to be one of those guys that people are going to fall in love with. And if they do that, that tells me not only is he fundamentally changed, that the direction of the franchise is shifted, starting with him being forced to fire his friend Dennis Allen, and now hiring a young, dynamic offensive play caller to be the head coach. And if they go quarterback, that tells me everything that I need to know, that Kellen Moore, even though he may be soft-spoken, and I met him at the Super Bowl during Media Day, that he may be soft-spoken, but he obviously would have a voice that Mickey and Jeff Ireland and company are listening to.
Yeah, man. It'll be fascinating to see. I like to see history, and in my lifetime, they haven't taken a quarterback in round 1. I mean,
yes.
It's like you got to do it eventually. So to see him do it, even if I don't necessarily love the idea of Jaxson Dart, I don't hate the idea of Jaxson Dart. I don't love the idea of Dart at 9. But, Ray, like if they tried, from the reports, if they tried to move up from 40 or back from 9, presumably looking for a landing spot to do this, and you didn't have a taker, then what do? Then you make the decision. Do you wait to 40 and see if he's there, or do you take him at 9?
It's also interesting because, there was a lot of talk about this first round or this draft class for quarterbacks is reminiscent of the Kenny Pickett year, right, where you don't really have a guy. And Tennessee is desperate because Tennessee is awful. And even though Cam Ward has things about him that you don't love and you don't say, well, that's not a guy that's on the same level of Cam Newton or Joe Burrow, you're Tennessee, you don't have a choice, right? You have to draft a quarterback. So now you got Shedeur Sanders and Jaxson Dart, and now we're seeing teams, and people are like, well, maybe there won't be another quarterback taken. Okay, I could see that. But teams every single year, our entire lifetime, they overdraft quarterbacks because they get desperate and they get scared. And they'll go, oh, well, if we don't get one this year, we may not be able to get one next year, right? So they panic. And these guys get drafted higher than they should. No one thinks Cam Ward's the best prospect in this draft.
Correct.
Right? When you think of the best prospect in this draft, you're thinking
Travis Hunter
or Abdul Carter, right? You're thinking of guys that could be generational talents. No one thinks of that of Cam Ward. Now, could he be that? Sure. But you just think about it, and I just think teams are going to try to trade up. And then the other thing that I always point out, people go, well, these teams don't need quarterbacks. And I have a team to throw it at you that may be interested in drafting one of these guys.
This year?
This year.
Okay.
The Rams. Stafford's on the back end.
Yeah.
Sean McVay is a guru. You can draft a guy. We know they hate their draft picks. So if they burn a draft pick, they don't care, right?
Wasn't that the line? F the picks.
Right. They
won a Super Bowl, man.
Right.
They're right.
Right. So
if that's the goal.
They could be one of those teams that could be like, you know what? Let's take a flyer on our first round draft pick. We made the playoffs last year anyway. Hey, we're good. We have a great team. Let's roll it out and let's develop a guy. So to your point, the Saints may have done their research. And another thing, you have to find someone to go to the dance with.
That said it just before you came on the air, man. You've got to have someone who's willing. You've got to have someone who's willing to trade with you.
Now, could you find a dance partner in your old friend Sean Payton, who reports have been that the Broncos want to trade up, but we know Denver wants to trade up because they want to go get Genty, just like everyone else does, like the Bears do. The Bears want to move up from 10 to go get Genty. The Raiders want to get Genty, and they're worried about not getting him where they're positioned at. So,
God bless.
So I don't know. It's going to be fascinating.
Saquon Barkley just completely reset the entire running back market and perception one season?
I think so.
I mean, a running back in the top 10 to me is horrifying. Like, why? I mean, if you're the Eagles and you have an amazing roster and you feel like you're that player away from winning a Super Bowl, great.
Yes.
The Saints are awful.
Their roster's nowhere. I tell people, they're like, oh, I go, guys, Kellen Moore was in Philly for a year. He walks into a situation where you already got your quarterback taken care of. You have two great wide receivers, right? One of them's in the conversation for being top 5. The other one is a former Heisman Trophy winner from the state of Louisiana. You have a great pass-catching tight end. Oh, by the way, you have a filthy defense that they built up through the draft for about 3 to 4 years, and you have the best offensive line in football.
Right.
Guess what? You need a lot more than just the head coach.
Put Saquon behind Lucas Patrick at center, Trevor Penning at right. See how that goes.
Oh, Landon Young, huh?
You put Landon Young. See how that goes.
There it is.
Anyway,
there it is.
We're short on time. Local prospects that you're expecting to hear names called? I know you got your notes.
Yes. We have 5 guys that I feel are going to be drafted from the 337. Of course, Jack Besh, former STM Cougar at LSU, TCU. I think he's a day 2 guy. I think he's maybe a late second round, early third round guy. The toughness, he's built like a linebacker that can play wide receiver, and he has soft hands. I think he's going to get drafted. You're going to see Zy Alexander from Loreville.
Yeah, man.
I think he'll get drafted on day 3. Trevor Etienne from Jennings. He'll get drafted probably in day 3. He's a little undersized, right? He's only 5'9". But the 2 guys to look out for are the 2 Trays from Ole Miss, right? Trey Amos, who is projected by some, including Daniel Jeremiah, to go to the Bills in the first round tonight.
Okay.
He's from New Iberia, started his career with the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, went to Alabama, and was a backup under Nick Saban for a year, and then ended up with Lane there in Oxford. And then it's his teammate, former Como High star, Trey Harris, a guy that began his career, went from high school quarterback, converted to a wide receiver at Louisiana Tech, leaves Tech and goes to Ole Miss and just helps rewrite some of their record books and has become one of the best wide receivers. If he didn't get injured in that LSU game, he probably would sneak into the first round. There's a lot of momentum for him. I see him being selected on day 2 as well. So I think we're going to have 5 local guys here from the 3-3-7.
I hope Harris, if the Saints don't go receiver at 9, there's some Ted McMillan conversation, like whatever. If Harris is there at 40, I would love the Saints to pull the trigger there. They need a big-bodied wide receiver, and he was the best receiver in college football for half. Like, if you look at Trey Harris's numbers last year before he got hurt, like, I mean, he was going to win the Biletnikoff, and he was incredible.
He was a midseason first-team All-American.
Yeah,
like, he was on that track, right? So I know he would love. That's his team that he grew up rooting for, right? He would love the Saints. His family would love for him to play for the Saints.
That'd be awesome. I'd love for him to play for the Saints.
You would love for him to play for the Saints. I asked him, I joked with him, I said, hey, bud, I says, if the Saints don't take you and let's say the Falcons or the Panthers or the Bucks take you, how's that gonna work with the family? And he started dying laughing. He goes, as long as I don't go to the Cowboys, the family will be fine.
RP3 and Mesh, weekdays, 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for hosting us here today. It's always great to see you. It's our guy. All right, man, we're going to knock out a quick break. We will continue here. Actually, we're going to head up to Knoxville when we come back. We'll do a little baseball talk with Wes Rucker, who's going to join us, preview LSU and Tennessee. When we continue here, it is AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We're live from the Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds to remind you about our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. If you haven't done it yet, it's time to do it now. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. Schedule your preseason AC tune-up. You would not drive across the country without getting your oil changed, your tires rotated, to make sure that your vehicle's ready for that grind. You shouldn't go through summer in Louisiana without making sure your AC is running at max efficiency. Don't let small issues become very big, very expensive issues. Also, this standard maintenance will extend the life of your unit. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. If you haven't done it yet this year, or you can't remember the last time you had your AC cleaned and tuned up, call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Obviously, draft coming up tonight. Massive night, but also a massive baseball weekend with the Vols coming in. Top 10 matchup, LSU and Tennessee. Always good. We get a few minutes with Wes Rucker, talk a little bit of the Vols who are coming down to Baton Rouge. Wes, we always appreciate you, man. How are you?
Doing all right. How y'all doing today?
Man, doing really well. We look at Tennessee, and I think everybody knows defending champ, tons of talent, probably the most talented team in the country. You look up and they're 12-6 in the league, same as LSU. If I asked you so far through 6 weekends in the league, if you were going to characterize this Vols team, how would you sort of describe 10,000-foot view the team up to this point?
You know, I think it's changed in the past few weeks. I think, honestly, the conversation maybe 3 weeks ago was, is this team even better than last year's team? And now the conversation is kind of, you know, it's a little different. I don't think panic's the right word, but there's a sense of urgency now. They hadn't lost. I think they'd won 12 consecutive SEC series and then dropped 2 in a row at home, which is really shocking. And had a really bad weekend against Kentucky. So I don't think there's cause for alarm, but they've just been a little bit sloppy lately.
The A&M thing, I think, is understandable. We're seeing, like, there's talent there. The Kentucky thing was surprising. What has changed, Wes, from the team through, let's say, 20-25 games looks so dominant to the one that maybe is a little shaky? What has changed there?
Well, I think in one way, you know, Kentucky is just kind of a team that the way they're built, it can give Tennessee trouble. And what I mean by that is Kentucky is incredibly patient at the plate. Kentucky can spin the ball a little bit on the mound, and it really attacks you on the base pass with small ball. And Tennessee has dealt with a couple injuries, a couple things in and out of the lineup in the infield, and really kind of has a couple pitchers who are just kind of slow to the plate, to be honest with you. And Kentucky kind of runs on you and kind of puts pressure on you, and Tennessee just kind of was on the back foot the final 2 days and just never really got going. So I don't think it's any cause for alarm. It was just kind of a weird weekend, but you know, Kentucky can do that to you. They make you make plays. Kentucky is a kind of team that, to me, like, they're interesting because they will not beat themselves, but like if you play well, you will beat them because they're not special, but they put pressure on you, and if you don't play well, they will beat you.
Yeah, Mingione's he's had to learn how to do more with, I don't want to say less, but a different style of athlete there, and he's done certainly. I mean, they were in Omaha a year ago. He's on Twitter at WesRucker247. You want to give him a follow? It's GoVols247. Talk a little Tennessee baseball. Man, Liam Doyle's been awesome. I think a lot of people saw him at Ole Miss, but he's had this transformative season when he went from really good SEC starter to maybe the best pitcher in the country. Like, how?
Yeah, I mean, I think the short answer is Frank Anderson. You know, I think Tennessee's pitching coach. I think I think he's coached like 100 draft picks during his career, which is pitchers, which is just an asinine number, but I think it's the truth. And he, you know, it's funny because you got all these pitching labs and everything these days, and I call Frank Anderson's pitching lab like a Home Depot bucket that he sits on watching guys pitch. He's kind of old school, But he really is big on demeanor. He's big on developing off speed, mixing it in, and throwing strikes. And Liam Doyle came to Tennessee to work for Frank Anderson, and it's paid off. I mean, it's been a really good marriage of they knew what they were getting talent wise, and then kind of just the other stuff. It was kind of a pleasant surprise. Like some people at Ole Miss said he was maybe a little bit difficult to deal with. Tennessee absolutely loves him. So I mean, there's been no issues there with him or Andrew Fisher. They've loved both of those guys.
Is there a? I mean, we all see the arm talent and the numbers pop. If there is, or when there has been any type of chink in the armor with that staff, what is it? Like, what are the signs that things might go sideways?
If they are walking people, then that is not good news for them. And I say that, you could say that with a lot of people, right?
Sure.
But Tennessee, the reason why Tennessee every season is near the top in ERA and runs allowed and all these things is because you don't get on base. And when you do get on base, like teams will run more on Tennessee than they will other teams because Tennessee puts a premium on the battle. They consider the base paths the battle, and they consider the mound and the plate the war. And they focus on the war. They want to get you at the plate. And so if they're walking guys, they don't give up a lot of hits normally, but if they're walking guys, then that gets you on the base pass. You can get going. Even a team like LSU that doesn't run that often will probably try to run against Tennessee a little bit. And that can kind of get them a little off their game. So if they're just pounding the strike zone, I mean, you don't hit the ball out of the yard a lot against them. You don't beat them up that way. But if you do get them to walk, especially Saturday starter Marcus Phillips, who's got just A-plus stuff, but is just very slow to the plate. And if you can do that and kind of keep some traffic on there, you can give them some trouble.
Hey, flip it over, Wes. 5 guys with double digits home runs, team batting average of 308. I mean, it looks like another team where there isn't really an easy out. Is there a weakness in the lineup?
A little bit recently, and what happened was Gavin Keelan, who's one of the best hitters in the country, he missed a few weeks with a hamstring, and when he came back, he could only DH for a few weeks, and so when you do that, you kind of take one of your best bats kind of out of the lineup because you're having to DH Keelan, and so that goes from maybe you have only one hole in the lineup to you have 2, and if you have 2 holes in the lineup, pretty much every 3 innings, you're not going to have to be success, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it works out. So if with Keelan back in the field now, I think they are better offensively, but they have their moments. Like they get on base a lot. They take their walks. They're very disciplined. But, they have like Antigua, who's one of the best defensive shortstops in the country, but is not a great hitter to this point in his career. And so if he's not hitting or if he's in the lineup, and then you've got Peebles who's kind of hot and cold. If Peebles is hot, then usually the whole team's hot. But if Peebles isn't hitting well, then you got 2 holes in the lineup, and that's where things can get a little dicey because that's what usually separates Tennessee is the fact that there are no holes in the lineup. So no real alarm there. I think things are getting better with Keelan back in there. But, they still have their days where they aren't very good.
Yeah, to your point, as I'm looking at it here, Peoples batting 217, and Teague was at 194. Gavin Keelan, who LSU was hot and heavy after in the portal, they really wanted him badly, is hitting 412. 412 with 11 bombs. That's after missing some time. No, there's a reason he was the best player in the portal that everybody wanted. Hey, Wes, the Tennessee pops up on the schedule, and the thing with LSU, and they've won 7 national championships. There's proud history, all that stuff, and it's usually the other way where when LSU pops on team schedule, LSU is the big week. When Tennessee pops on the LSU schedule now, there's just more juice around here, probably since the whole retire Paul thing. Is it similar there? I mean, is coming to Baton Rouge in the LSU weekend, does it mean more there than other weekends right now?
There's no question. I mean, listen, LSU, people in Knoxville don't love me saying this all the time, but it's the gold standard in college baseball. I mean, they call themselves the powerhouse, and they have every right to. They got the hardware to prove it. It's a big weekend for everybody. And I think for Tennessee, what's interesting is, because Arkansas has never won a national championship, obviously, but Arkansas, Tony Vitello came from there. There have been some really hot Arkansas-Tennessee series where things got spicy. So that maybe gets a little bit of Tennessee's attention off to the side, but LSU gets more attention than anybody because it's LSU, and it's the best program in college baseball. And even Tony Vitello will say that. I think nobody in college baseball has won more than Tennessee the past 6 or 7 years. But, LSU still really good. LSU still the best program in the country. So, yeah, I mean, and honestly, I think when you look at these teams, I don't think there's two teams in the country who are more similar in a lot of ways. And that's, that because the stats say it in a lot of ways. And also, both of these teams tried to recruit the entire other team, basically. Like Tennessee and LSU,
so
like now, I mean, it's like LSU, and sometimes twice, because you come out of you got Tennessee and LSU both want you out of high school. They're both picking up the best classes in the country every year. And then when you go in the portal, the best players often are picking Tennessee and LSU. And so, yeah, I mean, it's these guys recruited the entire roster. It's like Tony said the other day, he says, I haven't watched LSU a ton this year, but I know that entire team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because I tried to sign them all. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of familiarity and respect there.
Tigers and Vols this weekend, 3-game series. West Rucker, go Vols 247. Get them at West Rucker 24/7 on Twitter. Hey, man, we always appreciate a couple of minutes. Enjoy the weekend, all right?
No problem. Anytime, y'all. Have a good weekend.
It's our pleasure. Wes has been a good friend of the show for a lot of years, been generous with his time. We appreciate it. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. My goodness, you got some 40 different branches all over Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. You can go to the website and find a branch near you at firstsouthland.com. Was over at the parish office today and walked into Terrio's office. He had his tablet open. He was just looking at parcels of land. He's so obsessed with buying land. But you understand, like, they ain't making any more dirt, y'all. God made a finite supply. So if you want to own land, First South Farm Credit can help you finance it because that's what they've done since 1916. Log on to firstsouthland.com. Make that your first call. You wouldn't go with another lender. It's because when it comes to buying land, you want to lender, someone who is specialized in that vertical for more than 100 years. Go to firstsouthland.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Firstsouthland.com. Hey, am I the only one? Like, is anyone else noticing an abnormal amount of spam calls on their cell phone lately? Alondra, put your mic on real quick. Alondra's here on site. She does awesome. We appreciate it. Are you noticing this as well?
So it's like the text messages. Like, I get a lot of text messages from it. And yesterday I got like 3 spam calls.
I'm not talking about 3 since yesterday. I've had 3 in the last 8 minutes.
I don't know what it is.
I had one just come through. One at 4:29, 4:21, excuse me. The other one was at 2:08. Before that, it was at 12:42, and then at 12:10. That's just since noon. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4. I've had 5, 6 spam calls since noon. It's 4:30. It's like every half an hour I'm getting a spam call.
Do you get the texts?
I get the text marketing.
No. It's like telling me I need to pay a toll.
Oh, I've gotten that.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't. There's no tolls here.
There's no tolls. I didn't blow through the toll in Florida.
Right.
Or maybe I did.
Or like trying to buy my house and I don't own a house.
Oh my God! What's up with the spam calls? Anyway, if someone has an answer why that's like, or if that's just an abundance to everybody else, or is it just me that's getting a ton of them? I don't know why, but that's happening now. Okay, it is After Further Review. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. Big thanks to Blasia, her awesome staff. It's not just healthcare; it's healthcare for your lifestyle. If it's their amazing professional in-home nurses. You're bringing a baby home from the hospital. Maybe it's end-of-life care. Maybe you need help in-home post-operative. Maybe you're feeling run down, you need an IV. They'll come to you and give you an IV. It's Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, decisioncriticalbr.com to schedule that discovery phone call. Decisioncriticalbr.com. Man, we're halfway home here already. Golly, this thing flies by. Tap Room I love coming here, y'all. The owners here at Tap Room are so nice and generous and welcoming to us every time we come. This place started to fill up as soon as we started the show. I mean, it's 4:30, it's packed. I mean, festival's going on this weekend in Lafayette, so obviously it's a major weekend already here. Draft and everything else going on. Tomorrow, by the way, we're in New Orleans at Zurich, so excited about that show as well. But in the meantime, man, thank you for being with us here. If you're in Lafayette, come join us here at Tap Room. And even if you're knocking off work late and we're out of here at 6, come to this evening, have dinner, drink some beers, watch TV. Our friends from Delta Media, our Lafayette affiliate, they've got the prize wheel over here spinning for Tap Room gift cards. festival VIP passes for this weekend, festival T-shirts and pins, lots of great swags. Come hang out with us here at Tap Room in River Ranch in Lafayette. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. We'll sort of reset the day for the Saints from the draft perspective, and a little more that we didn't get to from Mickey Loomis yesterday about some of the other positions the Saints are probably targeting in this draft. We'll get to that as we continue. Thrilled to have you aboard with us here on this Thursday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. That's yourgoodwood.com. You know, I've been mentioning for many, many months now about Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, the many different services they offer on their menu. Yes, from ED treatment and also hormone replacement therapy, which is really the lion's share of what they do is HRT, but they do have ED treatments as well. But they have other things like anti-aging treatments, like NAD plus treatments. If you want to learn more about that, you can. I've told you also about BPC 157, which is a peptide that's been known and proven through studies to help with things like recovery. I've been taking that now. I'm in my second week as I'm starting to hopefully that's something that'll help me with my back pain. The point is, if you want to live a fuller life with vitality, pain-free, and all the youthful energy you had, they can help. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit them online at yourgoodwood.com. That's yourgoodwood.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here on this Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We are at the Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette. Come on by and see us. There is a smidge here of there's a smidge of LSU football transfer portal news that's worth getting to. Remember, today is the final day for players to enter the football, spring football portal window. That 10-day window closes, on Friday, closes on Friday. And Brian Kelly has been pretty upfront about LSU's approach to the transfer portal, that weren't necessarily to add, but if there was someone who might be a transformative type player and better, then certainly you'd have that conversation. Well, interestingly enough, Matt Zenitz is reporting that USF, that's Florida, defensive lineman Bernard Gooden is going to visit LSU tonight. So he arrives at LSU tonight for a visit with the LSU football program. And this is an interesting one to me for a couple of reasons. We have talked about defensive line as being a spot where if LSU was going to target someone in the transfer portal, that in theory would be the spot where they would. Remember, you've got numbers there at defensive line. What you don't have is a lot of productivity. You've got 9 scholarship interior defensive linemen. So this isn't exactly a spot where you are, where like a year ago you desperately needed bodies after you had guys transfer out both in the December and spring portal window. So you had to go get JVR Suggs and you added Gio Paez. Like, you needed bodies at that spot. And it ended up being that you ended up kicking a guy like Parrish Shand inside. You had to play, you moved Ahmad Bro from end to tackle and bulked him up because you needed bodies there. Anyway, Bernard Gooden is interesting because this is a guy that hits the transfer portal from South Florida. He's from Montgomery, Alabama. He played at Wake Forest, then transferred to South Florida, and now he's back in the portal again. He's 6'1", 280. He played in 13 games at South Florida this year, 35 tackles. Not necessarily a guy that has had this amazing productivity. Played in just 2 games in 2023, the first year that he transferred there to South Florida. So all that to say, in 2021 he redshirted at Wake Forest. In 2022 he played in 12 games, but had only 7 tackles, very minimal impact. He sat out 2023 as a transfer, just saw action in a couple games. But then in 2024, this past year, played in 13 games, started 11 times, at 35 tackles. I guess the point I'm making is you have a guy that is 6'1", 280. He is, according to the transfer portal rankings, for whatever that is worth, right? I mean, you can take the portal rankings with a grain of salt. But he's the highest rated available player right now in the portal. But 6'1", 280, a guy that didn't even start every game a year ago at South Florida. I just don't know that that's the guy that is the transformative type player. Now, my hope is that the LSU coaching staff is obviously looking at this going, okay, well, we know who the best guys are in the portal. We've done scouting and all that sort of stuff to see who's available and what's what there. But, as you scroll through, and I'm looking at these portal rankings right now, for Gooden, there he is. He's the number 49. This is according to 24/7. He's the number 49 overall prospect in the transfer portal, and he's the highest rated uncommitted portal player. So it never hurts to add depth and talent across the defensive line or anywhere at a position. But I'm also not sure that that's the guy that is the immediate impact, transformative guy that you're looking for at that position. One thing is certain, that Gooden, that LSU has money to spend in the portal. And at this point, I don't, and through NIL, I don't think they would be bringing in someone for a visit if they didn't think this person could be impactful. But I also look at Gooden and say, if there's opportunities elsewhere where he wouldn't be part of such a heavy rotation, that might make more sense. I mean, I'll remind you again, the most experienced defensive tackle you have as far as starts is Jacobian Guillory, who's made 5 starts in his LSU career. Now, he's played in 40 games, but he's made 5 career starts. So Gooden, starting 11 games a year ago, has more starts, but it's also not necessarily the guy that, like the way a Patrick Payton is such an accomplished, and it's like if someone like that entered the portal and you had a guy that was a 3-year starter at a Power 5 school and been a really impactful guy, that feels like a different conversation. But we'll keep an eye on it. At this point, new defensive line coach and Kyle Williams. Maybe there's something Kyle sees there. He loves an interior pass rush. That's what Kyle Williams did at Buffalo. It's what he did at LSU. It's what he's going to try to do with these guys. Maybe that's something to keep an eye on with Bernard Gooden. But LSU, again, hosting the top available transfer portal player this weekend, according to Matt Zenitz at 24/7, arriving in Baton Rouge here tonight for a visit with the LSU football team, a possible portal addition for LSU. We'll see how that goes here over the next few days with that visit. And maybe LSU does add a player here in the spring portal after the only portal movement we've seen so far with LSU in the spring has been the 2 players that have left, with John Emery and Javen Nicholas. Been quiet as we anticipated it would be. This would be a little bit of a splash if they were able to get Bernard Gooden, but we'll keep you posted. All right, it is After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020, you call 924-2020. It's the Williamson Eye Center with locations all over Greater Baton Rouge. Their newest location is in St. Francisville. You can even do your post-op care there. A lot of people would have to drive into Zachary. You don't have to do that anymore. They have the location in St. Francisville. Of course, on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, right off of Suma at the Baton Rouge General Campus. Right there, that corner building. When you turn off of Bluebonnet onto Suma, right there on the corner at the stop sign. First 2 floors, Williamson Eye Center. You can have your eye exam. You can buy your contacts or glasses. And, of course, you can have a refractive procedure to where you can ditch the contacts and glasses forever. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. All right, we're here at the Tap Room in River Ranch. We usually have Tigers in the Pros when we wrap up hour number 2, but we still got a ton to do. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, is here in 15 minutes. We are going to head to the Saints facility in 30 minutes from right now. Our guy Dawson Eiserloh from ESPN 1037 Lafayette, 1041 Lake Charles, is at the Saints facility. We'll get boots on the ground perspective from D'Lo coming up in about 30 minutes from right now. And, of course, all the latest on the LSU prospect draftees as we inch closer to the NFL draft, which is getting started at 7 o'clock tonight. So we are now 2 hours and 16 minutes away. As a reminder, as soon as we're done here at Tap Room in River Ranch, I'm getting on the road back to Baton Rouge, get on Cigar Bar, looking forward to it for our draft watch party tonight. So come on out if you're in Baton Rouge to Don Juan tonight for our draft watch party. All right, quick break. Tigers in the Pros to wrap up hour 2 next.
After Further Review.
GLResources.com, GlowResources.com. They are complete employer solutions at Glow Resources. Check them out online. I always encourage you to do that. I always love telling you great success stories about Glow Resources because the way they help businesses is really unmatched and incredible. They're a temp staffing solution. They are a company that works for you, the business owner, helping you find the people that's going to make your business more efficient. Listen, for a lot of people, the hiring market is bad right now. And everyone is looking for help in hiring. When you work with Glow, this is a permanent solution. They don't lose customers. Glow Resources takes the headache out. You're selecting from a pre-qualified batch. If you're tired of experimenting, stop going the cheapest route. Stop wasting money on training and all that effort. Do it right the first time because the long-term cost will be the cost-saving solution. GLO, GlowResources.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Muso, Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
I'm super excited to pass along this update. First time really getting to talk about Ty Floyd here this season, and he is off to a awesome start over in Daytona for the Tortugas, single A affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds. Floyd got his fourth start a night ago, went 4 innings, didn't allow an earned run, walked 1, and struck out 7. Through 4 starts, Ty Floyd at single A has an ERA of 2.77. He could be on the move pretty quickly, at least up to high A ball. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but a fantastic start for Floyd early in his season. And, I mean, look, with the way things ended at LSU, it looked like it had kind of clicked, and he was going to be on that fast track. Eric Razelman for Scranton Wilkes-Barre a night ago in AAA. 2 innings of shutout relief. Walked the guy, punched out another. Did give up a hit, but didn't come around to score clearly. 2.79 earned on average early for Razelman. Remember, he was one of the guys we gave you at the beginning of the season to keep an eye on. He might find his way up with the Yankees at some point this season. Baseball a night ago, Dylan Cruz got yet another hit, 1 for 3 for the Nationals. This one was a single. He was stranded on base, but what is bigger is, I mean, that just continues the trend of Dylan Cruz heating up with the bat. His defense has been phenomenal all year, but now the bat definitely coming around. That's what we all know that it can be and will be for him at the major league level. NBA playoffs a night ago, the Houston Rockets evened up their series with the Golden State Warriors. Tari Eason contributing 14 points off the bench for Houston, added 6 rebounds. But, man, he was awesome. 6 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3, contributed 24 minutes as well. High clip shooting, kept the foul total low. Tari Eason all over the floor there. NBA action tonight, Ben Simmons and the Clippers, they will be in action. Game number 3 against the Denver Nuggets. That series is tied 1-1. We'll have a recap for you there on Musso at the Fox tomorrow. Of course, the Zurich Classic down in New Orleans. See if I can't steal you a quick update on that. Obviously, they had the Dodge raindrops all day today out there at Avondale. And, of course, right now my app doesn't want to work to upload. Here we go. Got it. It is going to take too long to find Sam Burns on that because he's listed as my favorites on my phone and not on ESPN's website. That's Tigers in the Pros, Scone.
Hey, if that ever happens, just throw it back to me while your app reloads. Thank you, Buse. Appreciate it. Anyway, Garrett said those calls are not spam. They're Ellen Moore trying to update you on the draft. That might be what all those. That's might be what all those calls are. All right, it is After Further Review. We're here at the Tap Room River Ranch, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. If you're in Lafayette, come by and see. It's got a great crowd. They told me, Alondra. They told me like Thursday is like usually a bit of a slower afternoon.
Yeah.
It's packed.
No, it's packed.
I turned around in the last
slow,
minute.
I don't know.
I was like, no, that's like there are a lot of people here, which is awesome. So great day.
It's the AFR effect?
Kind of,
okay.
I think.
Okay.
The whole ESPN 137 Lafayette, the whole thing. Yeah, kind of. So I'm fired up about it, man. Great spot. And then we're hitting the road after this at 6. Get back to Baton Rouge for the draft party over at Don Juan. Of course, here on site, if you're watching, I've got my big bottle of Evermore. Went snagged it before I left home. I always make sure I have plenty of the big 64-ounce bottles at my house. I'll fill that in the Keurig. Whenever I do my hydrogen water bottle, I'll pour my Evermore in there, add the hydrogen ions to the hydrogen gas ions to it. It's a better form of hydration. It's Evermore, EVA-MOR. You can get it at great local retailers, or, of course, you can get it online at evermore.com. You can find a retailer near you at evermore.com, EVA-MOR. It comes from an underground aquifer. It's a natural artesian water on the North Shore. So you're buying a Louisiana product as well. It's Evermore, EVA-MOR, evermore.com. Otter just sent me Otter Locks, and he's got in there 2 NBA plays and 6 NFL draft plays. The reason that's relevant is, and I want to clarify, the odds move so much. So where you might have gotten great draft value a day ago, or like think about Jaxson Dart. Like if you had played Jaxson Dart to be the Saints pick at 9 a day ago, you were looking at like plus 1,200. Well, now it's plus 280, right? So the odds have changed dramatically. It's still good, but it's not plus 1,200, right? So odds change, and so sometimes there isn't as much value now as we go. Well, so this is up to date. So if you haven't made any plays, you want to bet on the draft, there's 6 draft plays the Otter has here, and so we're going to give those out in Otter Locks when Jimmy's here, but I'll get them live at louisianasports.net. So get that up here in the break if you want to get them there for free over at louisianasports.net. Okay, hour number 3 live from Tap River Ranch is next.
After further review.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These are the luckiest best ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Sports Center. The NFL Draft begins tonight. I'm Chris Smith. Miami quarterback Cam Ward entered Thursday as a minus 20,000 favorite to be the top pick by the Titans at ESPN Bet. Colorado's Travis Hunter, the favorite to go second, and ESPN analyst Ryan Clark says teams can't be afraid of the two-way star.
If he's not an all-pro wide receiver, we know he can be an all-pro corner. Or if he's not an all-pro corner, then we know he can be an all-pro wide receiver. And you're saying to yourself, is he a jack of all trades and a master of none? No. For the first time ever in the history of football, we have a dude who's the master of both.
Hunter is the number one player on Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board after winning the Heisman Trophy and National Player of the Year while starting at both receiver and cornerback. Coverage of the draft begins in 1 hour on ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+. And there has been a trade. The Texans sending a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 2027 fifth-rounder to the Browns for a pair of 2025 sixth-round picks and a 2025 seventh-rounder. On to the NBA, where the Bucks and general manager John Horst have agreed to a multi-year contract extension, sources told Sean.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. And now a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt. We're here live from the Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette. 1 hour to go on the show. 2 hours from the start of tonight's NFL Draft. We're fired up to be here. Been a great crowd. Thanks to everybody here in Lafayette who said hello, supported this great spot, man. Tap Room River Ranch has been so helpful to us every time we've come over. It's been awesome, and great food, drinks. So come hang out here at Tap Room. Even if you're here after we're gone, come watch the draft. TVs everywhere. Got like 1,000 beers on tap. Great spot to come out with us here at Tap Room. We are going to get you closer to, as we count down this final hour to the draft, but as we start hour 3, as we do here on Thursdays, heading into a baseball weekend, our buddy Kendall Roger, D1 Baseball, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us. Yeah, man, how are you?
I'm awesome. How about yourself?
Fired up. Got a great baseball weekend ahead. I won't bury the people here. Obviously, you're fired up for the U10 series. It's a little interesting, Kendall, because both these teams may be arguably talented teams in the country, but considering the expectation be it not feeling as dominant as they could. What's your sort of 10,000-foot view of Tigers and Vols this weekend?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's going to just be exciting because I kind of feel like it's new blood versus old blood a little bit, with the Vols being obviously the new blood and LSU being the old blood. But I think the biggest thing for me when I look at these two teams is who can figure out their Sunday role. LSU, obviously, we've well documented. We've talked about that numerous times. That's still a question mark. And it's now a question mark for Tennessee. I mean, Tegan Kuhns, for them, a really talented young arm, will have better days. I mean, he was very iffy last week against Kentucky. And, that's a big question mark for Tennessee as well. So I think it'll be really interesting to see who can grab the momentum early in this series and, going into that series finale. And the other thing, too, if you're Jay Johnson, you go back and look at what Kentucky did last week against Tennessee's, Tennessee's catching. Kentucky ran wild on them. Can LSU exploit that as well this weekend? You can bet LSU is going to be very offensively, given what UK did last weekend. That should set the stage for a pretty exciting series, in my opinion.
Hey, Kendall, what's at stake in this series?
The biggest thing for me is, if you're LSU and you look ahead to what you have left in your schedule, I think if you win this series, I think you're in a very, very good shot to be a top 8 and certainly top 16. I think if you lose this series, then you're looking at the rest of the season and, okay, we're basically going to have to take care of our business. Like, we cannot afford to have another slip up. We've got to take care of business the rest of the way. So I think it's really, for me, it's kind of which team is going to add a little padding to their resume and which team is going to have more to prove. I think if you're LSU, you really want to get this one out of the way before you go to A&M next weekend, just because of the way those guys are playing, the way that ballpark plays. It's just a very dangerous time to go over there. And so I think for me, it's who can add a little padding to their postseason resume thus far.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention A&M because, look, the LSU-Tennessee series would probably be the marquee series in the country weekend, but for the fact that A&M is resurgent and now they're playing number 1 Texas. Let me start with the question about Jared Spencer. Do we know definitively, Kendall, his status for this weekend, the Texas?
He's out for the year. Yeah, he's out for the year. And yeah, he's having shoulder surgery. It's really disappointing because, I saw him a couple of years ago blow out at TCU in the Fort Worth Super Regional when he was at Indiana State. And back then it was like up to 97, 98. And he just always has had health issues. He cannot stay healthy. And so that's just crippling for them. I think it's just so tough for him because he was a rising draft prospect. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many layers of series. We haven't even thought about the fact that it's the first SEC series between these two teams because of the Schwarzenegger angle. So there's just a lot of storylines. Caleb Longley, the hitting coach for A&M, was at Texas last year. Jim was at A&M. Texas has like 2 guys in the starting lineup that were committed to A&M out of high school, ended up going to Texas. So, I mean, it's just storylines galore, and we'll find out if Texas can protect its home field. And we'll find out if, A&M continues to have, magic in a bottle. I mean, this is a club that, I think when we talked last week, I kind of felt like they would be dangerous in Fayetteville, but I kind of thought their luck would run out a little bit. And all they did is went out there and beat Arkansas 9-2 to win that series. So man, they are sizzling hot right now.
It's kind of incredible, man. You and I were talking, I don't know, a month ago when they were scuffling, and we looked at what they still had ahead, and it just didn't seem like there was an opportunity because of the schedule. And my goodness, have the Aggies come roaring back. That'll be fascinating to watch LSU there. There's a couple other ones that are really intriguing, and maybe for some different reasons. Like Oklahoma and Georgia is a ranked-on-ranked matchup, and that's another couple of programs there that have stubbed their toe, namely Georgia. Give me a sense of where you are on both OU and Georgia in the national landscape right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oklahoma needs this series this weekend to be in a better position to host. I think when you look at Georgia overall, I'm a little concerned about their offense. I mean, if you look at their offensive production, specifically on the road, it has not been very good the last 2 weeks. Obviously, they're back home at Foley Field in Athens. So, yeah, I would expect them to be a little bit more offensive. But, yeah, I mean, I think for Georgia, if you want to continue being in the top 8 discussion, you're going to have to win that series this weekend. I think for Oklahoma, you're going to, you still have Texas left on the schedule. You still have some teams left that you can gain some RPI points. But, boy, you would sure like to get a series win on the road against Georgia. So that'll be a fascinating 3-game set.
Yeah, and the other one, God, look at Vanderbilt. Just, I don't know, Kendall. I mean, Vanderbilt seemed like maybe this year it wasn't one of the Vanderbilt teams that we kind of come to expect over time. Now all of a sudden they have a weekend like they did last weekend. They're ranked in the top 10 in the country. They got to go on the road and play at Swayze this weekend. Is Vanderbilt a team that all of a sudden looks like a contender?
I hate to be downplay those guys, but I guess I'm just not buying it yet. I mean, I really like Connor Fennell in their weekend rotation. I like the pieces they have on the mound. I'm just not sold that their offense is going to consistently be able to score a lot of runs. Even the Georgia series, there were a couple of those games where it's not like they just blew Georgia's doors off offensively. So I kind of feel like Ole Miss at home is a good matchup against Vanderbilt just because I think Ole Miss can actually score some runs. I guess I'm just not buying Vandy yet. I've got to see more offense out of those guys before I'm thinking, okay, I think they've got a chance to make a big move in the landscape nationally.
You buying Kentucky after the big weekend against Tennessee?
I think Kentucky's tricky. I don't think Kentucky's great, but I think Kentucky is one of those teams that I wouldn't want to play because they're very unorthodox. They'll try to steal a lot of bases. They'll as well documented, they will lean over the plate and get hit until the umpire tells them they can't do it anymore. They just do things so unorthodox, and you're just not very used to that as a team. And, the big key for them, we've talked about, guys like Will Schmidt and whatever going to college. Tyler Bell, their first-round pick who decided to go to school, he has become their best player. He is playing like a first-round pick, and he has been fantastic across the board for UK. So, some of their positions that were big question marks coming into the season, guys like Bell have been able to, kind of fill those in quite nicely.
Yeah, Kentucky hosts South Carolina this weekend, which is a very winnable weekend for the Wildcats. So one to keep an eye on as they continue trending toward the end of the season. Kendall, give me something else, SEC storyline, something that maybe you think is worth watching this weekend that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, Mississippi State this weekend. I mean, they're a club that they're going to have to start taking care of some business. I mean, they're sitting there technically 6-13 in conference because remember that midweek game they lost to Ole Miss counts is a conference game. Then the other one for me would be Florida against Arkansas. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right, that because of Tennessee, LSU, and A&M and Texas, we're not even talking about Florida and Arkansas, but Florida starting to find its way a little bit over the last couple of weekends. And then Arkansas going on the road after losing that tough series, A&M, back-to-back series losses for the Razorbacks. If you're Florida and you win that series, you've got to feel like you're definitely getting to that 13-win mark to get into the postseason. And then for Mississippi State at Auburn this weekend, if Mississippi State loses that series to Auburn, they're in a really, really bad spot. I find it hard to believe they can get to 13.
Kendall, give me a perspective on a big series outside of the SEC.
Yeah, I'll give you a real big one. NC State against Clemson in Raleigh. NC State has been on a heater the last 3 weekends. They've won 3 straight series. Elliott Avent, shocking, I know. He has been playing really well yet again at the midseason mark. It feels like that's the way they kind of do things. They never start the season hot, but they're always really good by the end of the year, and that's kind of the way the pack is. And they've got a Clemson team at home this weekend who's number 2 in the country and has yet to lose a weekend series. So, we talk about hosts and things like that. The NC State Wolfpack, they're surging. I mean, I think they're 30 in the RPI. If they won the Clemson series, probably around 20 to 23, and that's right there in the territory to be hosting a regional Raleigh here in a few weeks.
He's Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. I'll give him a shout and follow. You know where to find him. Hey, man, we always appreciate the time. Enjoy the baseball this weekend. We'll look forward to doing it again next week.
Yeah, man, we'll see you around. I'll be in Baton Rouge, so we'll hopefully see you at the bar.
Very nice, dude. Reach out. We'll connect this weekend. Would love to.
All right, brother. Be good.
All right, man.
Bye.
Be well. That's Kendall Rogers. It's After Further Review. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. Not just health care for your lifestyle. Their expertly trained nurses will come to you for whatever it is you need. End-of-life care, recovery after surgery, bringing a baby home. It's really all about having that discovery phone call. And one of the things I know a lot of people wonder about, say, it sounds expensive. Let Decision Critical work with you on that component. It's more affordable than you'd think, and they have ways to work to make sure that you get the care you need. So work with them. Let them work with you. DecisionCriticalBR.com. DecisionCriticalBR.com. We're live at Tap Room in River Ranch here in Lafayette for another 47 minutes. But, man, they'll probably be going here all night long, man. Y'all come hang out here at Tap Room, River Ranch, get some great food. Had a flatbread earlier today. They got tons of beer on tap. Great spot here, River Ranch in Lafayette at the Tap Room. Jimmy's got auto locks posted. We'll get to Jimmy in about 30 minutes from right now. Jimmy and Hanny will be part of our draft night coverage over at Don Juan Cigar Bar. The bets are posted. The auto locks are posted at LouisianaSports.net. If you want to go bet on them right now, you can go get those there. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we are going to head down to the Saints facility. Our guy Dawson Eiserloh from the Lowdown here at ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles. He's on assignment covering draft night at the Saints facility. D'Lo's going to join us next. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Thinking of building a pool? How do you not? When the weather gets nice like this, you start breaking out the short sleeves and the shorts again. You're thinking about those spring and summer days where you're going to be diving into your pool, lounging by the pool, dipping in, get a little cool off whenever it gets too hot, having people over to the house to swim or enjoy your outdoor kitchen. Your backyard oasis, your backyard paradise, it can be a reality. Our friends over at Duplessis Builders can help you. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Tell you all the time they don't cut corners. They're going to build you a premium product, which is why they offer a 10-year workmanship warranty when the industry standard is 1. But go through that process. Derek is so bullish on bringing you into their showroom so you can help pick the finishes, so you're helping design the pool of your dreams. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. You can see them on Airline Highway in Gonzales as well. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the 2025 Jeep Compass Sport for only $23,995. $23,995 or 2025 Jeep Compass with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. and backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
.1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The following local businesses have also pledged to match your donations throughout the month: Lewis Mechanical, Patient Plus, Action Industries, Subaru of Baton Rouge, Service Chevrolet, Luba, and Duplessis Pool Builders. Visit 1045ESPN.com to help us reach our goal, and together we can make dreams come true. Also, Shep Boys. They've generously donated items autographed by former LSU star Justin Jefferson for our Dreams Come True Radiothon. Donate between now and April 30th to enter for a chance to receive one of 2 pieces of priceless memorabilia. 2 prizes will be awarded to separate contributors. Donation must be $25, at least $25 to officially enter you into that contest. Visit 1045ESPN.com to donate today. All right. Having a little bit of a technical difficulty with the connection with Matt over there in Lafayette. While Alondra gets that squared away, they were getting set to talk with D'Lo from ESPN Lafayette and ESPN 1041 ESPN Lake Charles. We're going to talk some draft while we wait for them to be able to be reconnected there. Again, I apologize for the inconvenience. Get you an update on where the odds stand with Jaxson Dart and, of course, the New Orleans Saints. When you look at the selection to be picked number 9, Jaxson Dart still sitting at co-favorites with Mykel Williams at plus 280. One that I would keep an eye on to see if the odds have changed here any is the prop of player drafted by. Jaxson Dart earlier today was favored to be drafted still by the New York Giants. As I refresh the page, that is still the case. The New York Giants minus $1.35 to select Jaxson Dart. The Saints, again, closely behind there at plus 250. And the other one to really keep an eye on with Dart is his draft position. This went off the board earlier this afternoon. So I had filled in for Hunt Palmer on his show prior to AFR, and right before I walked in the studio, it was on the board. And the odds was really a pick'em in his draft position, slated over under 24.5. Goes off the board, now back. Jaxson Dart's draft position over under 24, under heavy favorite now at 250. All right, we have Matt back. We'll toss it back out to Lafayette. Go and take it away.
All right, Muse, I appreciate it. Sorry, it just happens sometimes on remote, a little connectivity, but we're back rolling. And we're going to connect with Dawson Eiserloh, a.k.a. D-Lo, from the Lowdown here at ESPN 1037 Lafayette. We're at Tap Room in River Ranch. Thank you, Muse. I appreciate you bridging there for us. Dawson's down at the Saints facility as we're inching closer to round 1 here of the NFL draft. If you missed anything, remember, you can always catch AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. A ton of good stuff already today. Big shout out to Sean Fazende, who was with us from New Orleans in hour 1. Wes Rucker, who covers the Vols, has for a long time. We talked about LSU Tennessee baseball last hour, Kendall Rogers a bit ago, but so much of the convo today has been about, naturally, the NFL draft as we're inching closer to round one. And we do have D-Lo with us now. Dawson Eiserloh from the Lowdown here at ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, down at the Saints facility. D-Lo, how are you, man? Thanks for the time.
I am good, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, doing really well, man. Give me a sense, if you could have just set the scene, what it's like there at the Saints facility right now.
Well, honestly, dude, of course, you may know this. When you travel from Lafayette, you get in these traffic issues on I-10. So I'm not there yet, but I will be there shortly.
Where are you? Where are you?
I am outside. Actually, you know what I did is I took 90. I said I'm going to avoid I-10. I'm going to take 90. So that means I'm in parts unknown. Who knows where I'm at right now?
Bro, you may not make it by 7. You might make it by
we're
the
gonna
time
we're going to be there.
You might make it by the time they pick. Hey, give me a sense of what you think here about the Jaxson Dart news with his odds just soaring today to be the 9th pick of the draft and to land with the Saints.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing about it is the two scenarios that have been brought up is like, A, take him at 9, or B, this, you know, idea that I think was floated around by a couple of the insiders that, hey, maybe they're looking to get back into the late 20s. Makes sense to get back into the first to have the 5th-year option. My honest opinion on it is if the Saints are going to take Dart, I'd rather them take him at 9, because that tells me that the people in the building fell in love with him. If they're trying to mess around with this whole, well, we like him, but we don't really think the value's there at 9. We don't want to reach. Let's go back later in the first. Then they're not sold. They're taking another flyer. So if you're going to take him at this point, I think I'll feel better about where the Saints are at if they just take him with the 9th pick.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I've kind of looked at it two ways, where I feel like they've done their due diligence, right? They went and said, okay, could we move up from 40 or could we move back from 9? Because it would probably be a better value scenario. But you have to have a trade partner, and if you don't, then you're left with a decision. Do you sit there at 40 and hope he's there, or do you take him at 9? And I tend to agree with you, man. If they're taking him at 9, they're at least bullish enough to think. But man, there is a pretty wide variety of opinions on Jaxson Dart. I mean, I was reading this earlier. Like Yahoo rates him the 59th overall prospect, ESPN the 39th overall prospect, CBS and PFF have him as the 6th best quarterback. Then there's Kuiper, you know, who thinks highly of him as well, has him as the 3rd best quarterback. Where do you fall on Dart, the prospect?
So, look, I was never really all that high on him throughout the process. I think I kind of put, you know, I put most of the quarterbacks in this class in the same boat. It was like, I don't know. When I watched him on Saturdays, there wasn't that many moments where I said, yeah, that's a guy, outside of maybe Cam Ward. The thing that I've, you know, as I've tried to come around on this, and again, maybe there's just some internal bias here going, if I'm going to be watching this guy moving forward, let's see what it looks like. He did get better all 4 years. And, you know, not only from his just count stats, yardage, touchdowns, things like that, his air yards per target, his yards per attempt also improved every step of the way. So my hope is that this is a player who's nowhere near his ceiling. And he doesn't have, like, the age concerns that Shuck has. You know, I don't fully know what to make of how the mental makeup is with Dart, you know, with a guy playing for Lane Kiffin. I don't have a full read on that, but he at least seems like he's not, you know, completely off the rails. So I was never high on him in the process, but at this point, I'm willing to give him a shot if this is – I just wonder if this is, hey, teams are desperate for a quarterback, and he's the best of a bad bunch. That's my fear.
Might be. But that's, like we talked about, I mean, it's just not something you control, so you got to deal with what you got. Dawson Eiserloh is with us, host of The Lowdown on ESPN Southwest Louisiana, of course, Lafayette, Lake Charles. Heading, as we learned, parts unknown, headed toward the Saints facility. D-Lo, by the way, there was like a trailer that caught on fire just on the west side of the Mississippi River Bridge. When I was heading here to Lafayette, I saw it on the other side. I thought, God, I hope that's cleared up by the time I got to head back to Baton Rouge, man. So you can never really, you know what I mean? Like, you can never really chance it. I left Baton Rouge at like 11 o'clock because you can never really chance it with the Basin.
You can't. No, you can't. It's one of those where we used to joke. I grew up in New Orleans. Used to joke like people would slow down at the top of the bridge to make sure the other side of the bridge was still there. I think people do that with the Basin. They get to the Basin and they're like, "Is it still standing? Okay, we're good."
Hey, is there, if it's not Dart at 9, is there a player or a position you would like to see the Saints target?
So I've been in love with Emanwari for a long time, the safety of South Carolina. I've come to the terms to the fact that it's not going to happen. If it's the ones that are being rumored around, I think the two I'd be most excited about are Mason Graham and Jalen Walker. I think I want this defense to get back to stopping the run. And so whether it be, what I love about Graham is you're going to play him next to Brzee, and it seems like a perfect fit in that 3-4. What I love about Walker is just the versatility. He can maybe help him out with the pass rush, but also drop back and kind of be that bridge now with DeMario Davis. And is it Pete Werner? Is he the next guy? And can they find that? So those are the two. It's funny. I was thinking offense this entire time. And now that the mock, you try and make your best guess at this point. I don't think Ted McMillan's going in the top 10 or even maybe the top 15. And that was my guy for so long. I've kind of changed my tune on that.
Yeah, it's so interesting just how we learn more, the odd shift as this all goes along. What about from a local angle? RP3 was with us earlier. We talked about some of the guys from Acadiana, a handful of them that are likely going to get their names called. Anybody else, LSU, ULL, the New Orleans area guys who you're keeping an eye on this weekend?
Well, I do think Trey Harris makes a ton of sense with what the Saints need at receiver, and I think he's a guy. I mean, look, the only concern I'd have going in is some of the injury stuff at the back end of his Ole Miss career. But I think he's destined to be a really good receiver. Mason Taylor also, what I'm interested in, it's such a deep tight end class. It's funny, you look at some of these years when a player goes out. Like, I think there's a lot of years where Mason Taylor's probably the first tight end off the board. He's not going to be, though, because you've got Tyler Morin. You've even got, Loveland from Michigan and then Harold Fannin from Bowling Green. That could end up being a good thing for him, though. He could be picked at the back end of the first, maybe, middle portion of the second round where he ends up being on a good team. I think he's going to be a really, really good pro. And, the last name that I'll give you, if there's anybody with the Cajuns, Kenny Almendaris won the Lou Groza as the kicker. Not sure he's going to get drafted or not, but I think whoever ends up with him is going to have their kicking problem solved for the near future.
Great stuff, man. You can follow him on Twitter at Eiserloh Dawson. Catch him weekdays on The Lowdown with D-Lo. Hey, man, safe drive in all seriousness, though. It's like I know sometimes the back roads with potholes and things like that could get you. But safe travel down there and back, man. We appreciate a couple of minutes, all right?
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
All right, be well. That's Dawson Eiserloh. Does a great job. Congrats to D-Lo, by the way. He won Best Sports Show from the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters. It's split into two categories. There's large market, small market, and AFR was large market, and Lowdown with D-Lo won small market. So, dude does an awesome job, man. I'm very, very happy for him, and appreciate him for taking a couple of minutes here while he's on the road with us. So, shout out to D-Lo. All right, it's After Further Review. Thank you so much for being here with us. Mickey Loomis is doing his pre-draft interview with Deuce and Mike Detillier. I'm going to see if I can maybe snag some of what he's saying there as we roll along here. A little more of what Loomis had to say yesterday. I know much of our conversation about Loomis a day ago was his denial or unwillingness to say anything about the Derek Carr situation. So I do want to make sure we circle back to some of the other things because – but tomorrow we'll have a much better sense after we know what the Saints do at 9 of what they might be looking to do on day 2 with a second-round pick and 2 third-round picks. And so we'll talk much more about that. But clearly there's just when you're a 5-win team and you're old and expensive, you got a lot of needs. And this is a pretty transformative draft regardless of what happens at 9. Like I think it may be a thing where whatever they do at 9 doesn't become the most consequential thing in this draft. When you have 9 picks and it's such a deep draft that's heavy in the middle, it may be what you do in the middle rounds that actually defines this season or this draft. All right, it is After Further Review. Thrilled to have you hanging out with us here. We're presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We're live from the Tap Room in River Ranch in Lafayette. Thank you so much to our friends here at Tap Room and Delta Media for hosting us here today. It's always a thrill to be able to come over to Acadiana, so we appreciate it, especially on a great weekend with beautiful weather and festival in town this weekend. It's going to be awesome. So we'll knock out a quick break, and we'll continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Remember the Watermark and the Renaissance, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. If you're thinking of hosting an event, either the Watermark or the Renaissance is perfect for whatever event you're hosting. Whatever event you're hosting, it doesn't really matter. It's perfect. You want to have an intimate private dining experience. You go to the Watermark and you go in the basement, like down the marble staircase in the lobby, all the old bank vaults from the Louisiana National Bank building, they've hollowed those out and made them private dining and private meeting rooms. course, you can have an elegant wedding reception downtown at the Watermark. And, of course, the Renaissance, sprawling, 13,000 square feet of meeting space at Renaissance Baton Rouge. And it's convenient right there on Bluebonnet. I mean, Bluebonnet, close to I-10. I mean, it's got everything you need, from a ballroom that can accommodate 500 people to a boardroom that can accommodate a dozen people. It's the Watermark downtown and the Renaissance Southtown, two amazing hotel properties serving you in the greater Baton Rouge area. Remember, the Watermark and the Renaissance.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Bayou Ford is taking 15 to 20% off all new 2024 models in stock. 15 to 20% off all new 2024 Ford models on our lot. Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground.
The review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Kind of a quick reset of the day for the New Orleans Saints. Maybe if you're just jumping in the car, the truck driving home, and you haven't been up to speed on everything. The very quick catch-up is that earlier today, Jaxson Dart's odds of landing with the New Orleans Saints surge. And as we sit here at 5:35, roughly, an hour and 25 minutes from the start of the draft. Look, the Saints won't be on the clock probably until closer to like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. As we sit here right now, however, the odds to be the number 9 pick in the draft, Mykel Williams and Jaxson Dart, are identical plus 280. So it's a virtual coin flip between the two of them for what direction the Saints go, according to the current odds. It could always change if something ahead of them changes that's unforeseen, and maybe there's a player there at 9 that we weren't anticipating being there that could alter their strategy. But as of right now, it sure seems like the Saints are going to go one of those two directions. It could very well be Jaxson Dart. Forgive me, I'm sorry, Ross Jackson just sent me this text. It's a tweet. This is a Derek Carr update. This is a tweet from James Palmer. So David Carr was on the NFL Network. So this is Derek Carr's brother, David Carr. So David Carr was on the NFL Network. I'll read you this tweet directly. Said his brother Derek has been working with Mickey Loomis and the Saints to figure out what's best moving forward. Saints have been aware of the shoulder injury since the day it happened. Derek believes it happened in the game he broke his wrist. Derek didn't throw for a long time because of the injury. When he started to throw, it was still there. Surgery and no surgery are both a possibility. Derek would prefer to rehab and play this season, but doesn't have an answer right now. Okay, so there you have it from this is the kind of thing, like I'm going to try not to redirect and go on another screaming rant. I'm in a bar with a lot of people drinking beers. They probably actually really get a kick out of me yelling right now like an idiot. But all of that right there is something that your general manager could have said a day ago when meeting with the reporters that is sensible, plausible, acceptable, digestible, everything, and would have been perfectly agreeable moving forward. But instead you have this cloud of secrecy over everything, and you don't want to say anything, and it makes everybody guess and wonder what's even worse. Like, this is a very plausible thing. Okay, maybe Derek Carr, when he went airborne and broke his hand, injured his shoulder as well in that fall. He stayed off of it, tried to throw again, still hurt. Now they're not sure. Could be surgery, could not be. We'll see. Wants to play, we'll see where it goes. Like, that's a completely acceptable answer throughout all of this. What's unacceptable is your general manager's refusal to say anything. Anyway, so here an hour before the draft, David Carr, Derek's brother, goes on the NFL Network and basically tells us what's actually going on. Good of him to take a break from their car review videos to go on the NFL Network, maybe a legitimate news outlet. All right. Mickey Loomis, the things he would talk about, however, he was asked about why he favors trading up, because we've seen now reports this week of two different scenarios. The Saints trying to move up from 40, presumably to take a quarterback, and today reports came that the Saints were trying to move back from 9. And the idea would be, you really like Jaxson Dart, maybe you don't want to take him at 9. Could you move back a few spots, gain additional assets, and still get your guy? You shoot your shot. Here was Loomis talking about why he favors trading up in the draft.
When I look at it, look, I believe in our evaluation process. I believe in our grades. And so just philosophically, it's hard for me to say, I want to trade back and get a lesser player than I can get from moving forward. So if you move forward, you're guaranteeing yourself, in my mind, a better player based upon our grades. Now, we got to be right, as opposed to going back, and I might end up with a lesser player. So, and I get that you're getting more swings, right? When you trade back, you're picking up assets and you're getting more swings. So I understand that philosophy. I don't disagree with it. They can all work. Sometimes you might feel like I can trade back and still get the guy that I was going to take. That's when it really makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes you feel like you can trade back and still get the guy you were going to take. That's when it makes sense. That answer right there explains what those calls were like today about trying to move back from 9, because the feeling is you can look at the draft order and you can see what teams are likely to be in the market for a quarterback. I mean, we've been having these conversations for weeks now, but after the Saints at 9, the Bears have their quarterback, the Niners have theirs, the Cowboys, Dolphins, Colts, Falcons, Cardinals, Bengals, Seahawks, Bucks, Broncos. I mean, Steelers at 21 is kind of the next one. So if you're Mickey Loomis and you're thinking we're sitting there at 9 and there's no real threat of a team to take a quarterback until probably 21, could we move back 5 spots, 7 spots, whatever it may be, and still get the guy you want and maybe recoup more assets? That's what he's saying there. So I understand why. I understand. Like, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand it. Best case scenario is you're able to take a great player at 9 and move up from 40 and get your quarterback. That's a best case scenario. Clearly, they weren't able to trade up. Nobody was interested. So if you think your quarterback might be there in the teens, could you move back from 9, get your quarterback, and recoup future assets? That'd be a great scenario as well. You have to have a trade partner, didn't have it. So then you're left with the decision. You love this quarterback. Do you take him at 9? Or do you wait and hope that he's there at 40, understanding that you'd have to get past the Giants and the Browns in round 2? And there's a really good possibility that Shedeur Sanders maybe ends up in Pittsburgh, and that Tyler Shuck and Jaxson Dart go off the board to the Giants and the Browns at the top of round 2. And so you don't, and you're left there without a quarterback. And so then you're looking at the next tier, whatever that looks like, if it's Jalen Milroe and Quinn Ewers and all those types of guys. Y'all know how I feel about Jalen Milroe. But anyway, I can understand the approach of why they're addressing this the way that they did, but we'll find out in a few short hours what the answer to the test actually will be. But the news there, again, is with David Carr, Derek's brother, providing some insight to what's going on with Derek Carr that Mickey Loomis clearly was not willing to provide yesterday. Okay, it is after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Otter Locks is coming up in just a smidge. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana, including here in Lafayette and Youngsville, Baton Rouge, down to Morgan City where they started. If you need name brand tires and you want them at wholesale prices, you go to Shawbills. That's their guarantee. They guarantee it at Shawbills. Buy tires at Shawbills. Find those tires advertised somewhere cheaper. They'll refund you 125% of the difference. It's Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, excited for all the LSU guys today as well, all the local Louisiana guys. Anticipating to hear no fewer than 6 former LSU Tigers hear their names called. Will Campbell will be the 4th player taken in tonight's draft. He'll go to the New England Patriots, barring something dramatically unforeseen, but he currently has minus 500 odds to be the 4th pick of the draft. So we're all anticipating that Will Campbell will go in round 1. Not only will that make him the first offensive lineman taken in the first round from LSU since Alan Faneca, it will make him only the 2nd offensive lineman in LSU history to go in the first round of the draft, joining Alan Faneca. Lyle Collins is an asterisk there because he would have been a first-round pick in 2015, but for the pre-draft storyline scandal that sort of followed him, unfortunately. But it's going to be some history tonight. Brian Kelly, the LSU football Twitter account, shared a photo earlier. Brian Kelly, Brad Davis flew up to Green Bay to join Will Campbell there on draft night, which is awesome to see. So congrats to Will Campbell on what should be a great night for he and his family, and, of course, the entire LSU community will get to enjoy watching another Tiger go top 5 overall, presumably here in just a couple of hours. All right, it is after further review. Thursday shows presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. We're live from the tap room in River Ranch in Lafayette. 1 segment to go. We'll knock out our final break. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds and remind you about our friends over at the Advanced Turnaround Group. Of course, the Advanced Turnaround Group is a subsidiary of Action Industries. We talk about Action Industries all the time, a great local business that's been around since 1982. Action Industries does awesome work, but the Advanced Turnaround Group is a subsidiary of Action Industries. It's a core group that has built their careers on turnaround execution. They're not just taking any worker, throwing them in the turnaround world. It's a completely different pool of resources. So whenever you are looking to bid your turnaround, please consider the Advanced Turnaround Group over at Action Industries. Same website. It's actionindinc.com. So for Action Industries Incorporated, actionindinc.com. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group. Exemplary safety record, doing amazing work. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group over at Action Industries.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Big shout out, as always, to our friends at Decision Critical. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com. All right, we're here at the tap room. As soon as we're done, we're heading to Don Juan Cigar Bar, where the Otter will be celebrating his victories. So let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance. Now's the time to get that AC unit checked before it really gets hot. Normally $179, just $79 when you mention Otter Locks. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet. Safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Well, let's knocking on wood over here when you talk like that, boy. You know, the gambling gods, they don't like peacocking. So
I don't know about that, Otter. I've seen too many Lewis Sign moments in my life to know it's generally going to go your way here on the draft. You know what's interesting about it, though? We see odds shift so dramatically, especially the closer we get to the event. So I'm always interested where, at this point, an hour and 10 minutes before the draft, is there even value?
Oh, no, it's tough. You really got to dig, and it's called CLV, closing line value. When you and it's something that the bookmakers take if you beat their closing line continuously. And you know, between Max, myself, and Paul Stone on our podcast, we got closing line value working for us, Matt. So
okay.
that doesn't always translate into profitability, but we'll see tonight. So
okay, what are we looking at?
All right. First of all, you know, one that has kind of got you posted with the tight end for Penn State to go over 9.5. That thing has really moved. If you could find minus 150 right now, I would get on it. But besides that, it is. I mean, we got like plus money on it early last week, but not the case anymore. We like the Eagles to take a defensive line or edge person first with their first pick. We like Carolina to take a defensive line edge player with their first pick. Miami offensive lineman. I'm worried about the 3 offensive linemen going, but I'm still going to take the Dolphins to take offensive line with and without Tua. No matter what you think of him, they got to protect him. especially losing Karen Armstead. And I forget, they don't have the Saints first player drafted is long, or the position that they draft. Everybody's taking that off the board. But the offensive line from Alabama is plus 600 at 1 to be taken as the ninth pick in the draft. So I think that's worth a swing with that.
And you said defensive line edge for the Eagles?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
We're going to go ahead and add that because that wasn't in the text you sent me. So we're going to go ahead.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and add that as well. That's at plus 100. So you do have some CLV right there, as it were.
There you go. And what else? We're going back. Nationals going for a sweep on a diamond. Nice 3-0 night to bail out our two losers in the NBA last night. But Washington, man, they're improved. Dylan Cruz showing some signs of getting out of his slump. He hit his first 2 home runs in the Saturday game in Coors Field, and swinging the bat much better. He really is going running the bases well for them. We also have in the NBA the Clippers minus 5.5. Their third best home record in the NBA. Both of those games were down to the wire on the road in Denver. I think they'll win more comfortably. And also Porter Jr. Hurt his shoulder and aggravated it. He was a big piece for them in Game 2. And then the Pistons plus 1.5. You might just have one now. It was 1.5 when we posted it, but I like the Pistons. I think the Knicks are in real trouble in here. Might even want to take a little bit of a plus 215 on them to win this series.
Okay.
So, and the other one we gave you earlier, the Broncos taking running back. We know about Sean Payton's history. We think that his running back Hampton, his over/under is 20.5 for a reason. So we think that the tight ends might be going by the time he's picked. That's another position of need for Denver. We like them to take the running back with their first pick.
And quickly, one more that you gave a prop was the SEC first rounders under 14.5.
Yeah, that's a plus price because the SEC historically has done so well. So you're getting a good price at plus. It was plus 195, went to 175. I think it's like 150 now. But I'm stealing my buddy Paul Stone, one of our contributors, his pick. So that's one of his picks I looked into, and that should be more of a flip of the coin. So we're going to go under 14.5 SEC first rounders.
Yeah,
tonight.
I just bet that when you sent it, and it's at. Well, forgive me. Here it is. It's at. I got a plus 135 at DraftKings. So still plus money, but obviously those numbers come down. All right, Otter. We'll be over at Don Juan tonight in Town Center. You and Handy will be there. Then Rufino's tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I'm getting my draft night outfit already. We're getting it on right now. I'll be suited up. Don't you worry.
We're looking forward to it. We'll see you over at Don Juan in a little bit. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
All right, man. We'll see. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, and actually not far from where we are here, Southwest Volkswagen, because if you're in Acadiana, check out Southwest Volkswagen. South Point, of course, airline just north of Highland in Baton Rouge, and online at southpointvw.com. If you're thinking of buying a vehicle, check out our friends at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com. All the IIHS top safety picks. The great German engineering without the cost. And remember, manufactured in the U.S. of A. at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you're supporting American jobs as well. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, y'all, that's going to do it for us. Thursday shows presented by Decision Critical. So many thanks to so many people here at Tap Room, River Ranch in Lafayette for hosting us. Alondra, awesome job. Thank you for doing a great job on site. Moose and Paulie back in studio, sincerely, great job. We are jetting out of here and getting over to Don Juan in Town Center. If you're looking for something to do tonight, come join us at Don Juan. If you can't join us there, get us on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube stream. We'll see you tomorrow from Zurich.
AFR.
And tomorrow from Zurich, we will be announcing our $10,000 cash prize winner for Partsch Construction and Roofing. If you want to enter, it's not too late. We had hail earlier this week. We had stormy, rainy weather all day today. If you had or think you might have had roof damage, we can help. All you got to do, sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Go to parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com. Parishbuilt.com. You'll see the banner pop up on the homepage. Click the little link. You'll see all the deets and how you can enter. It's super easy. All you got to do to be entered to win $10,000 cash is just sign up. for a free no-obligation roofing inspection at parrishbuilt.com. You can always call us at 364-1007. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.